I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
Well, did you know that you could perhaps kill somebody?
It's the greatest podcast in the world.
Yes, but I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
For all of this?
Just a little bit no video games for a whole weekend. I took my drummer cup because I got mad at my mom, and then I saw him and my friend come in, and he smoked shit. I yanked the thing.
What the fuck is up? Yeah.
Great transition.
All I know is it's Isaac's fault.
Somehow this is my fault. It is my fault.
Fucking Isaac's fault.
I'll take responsibility for your OCD. I'm just kidding. Welcome to
my OCD. Shut the fuck up. No. Wait. No intros until this shit gets cleared up, motherfucker. Isaac,
thank you everybody for joining us tonight.
Shit. Oh man. For those of you that are starting a podcast, if you invite guests to your 8 p.m. show, make sure they don't get off of work at 8 p.m. because it fucks everything up.
Yes, it does.
So we got a guest. We have one guest here and another one on his way. But first, introductions. This is Isaac Chase, broadcasting live from deep in the basement of Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mi nombre es Edgar Antillón. Actualmente estoy en Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Estoy aquí con mi amigo
Sean Mcwilliams.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, he knows what's up.
I thought there was a moment there where I was like, the rest of this show's going to be in Spanish. All right. So we have Sean Mcwilliams with us tonight, and we'll do a more deeper, more formal introduction once your partner Anubis shows up.
Yes.
But currently, you are building a clothing brand.
Yes.
Called Attucks.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
talk more about that in a little bit. And you're also partner in a shooting school, a firearms training school in 5 Points
Yes,
in
sir.
Denver.
Yes, sir.
And I know you from coming to training classes and also taking a rather intense training class with you and with Anubis. We'll talk more about that. about how you almost died in front of me. And yes, so welcome. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And what do you got coming up? I know that's kind of what people talk about at the end, but let's bring it up at the beginning. What do you got coming up? We were talking about it before we started, and I think it's pretty cool stuff.
No, appreciate it. Well, first of all, my name is Sean Mcwilliams. I want to say thank you guys for having us on the podcast today. My partner in crime will be here soon. His name is Anubis Haru. We've been best friends for years. We've been doing a lot of things together for years, but what we have going on right now is three major things. One thing would be the Attucks Brand, which is a range clothing line that we came up with. We have been avid shooters for years, and so we had seen all the different brands and lines that were out there that were representing different things. And so we wanted to get into that lane because we love shooting, and we just wanted to actually have a brand out there that represented some of the things that we appreciated. And so that's what we came up with, the Attucks Brand. And so that's one of the things we have going on. On the side of Attucks, we also have another company called the Gun Tailors. Gun Tailors is an organization where we actually go out and help different individuals with their firearm situation. So since we've been training and teaching for a few years now, we've run into situations where a lot of people actually have firearms that don't fit them. And so what we wanted to do is create a process that allowed them to get a firearm that perfectly fitted them. And so we came up with a company called the Gun Tailors, and that's what we do in that process. And then lastly, what we have is an organization in the 5 Points area, which is called 1770 Armory, which is a virtual indoor shooting range. So those are the three things we got going on right now.
Where does the 1770 Armory name come from? Is that the address, or is that from something else?
No, great question. So 1770 Armory actually spins off of the Attucks Brand. So with the Attucks Brand, you have a gentleman by the name of Crispus Attucks, who actually was one of the very first people to die in the revolution to start America, which actually started in 1770. So what we really wanted to do was create a process to help people understand that America didn't actually start in 1776, right? That's when we won the whole process, but it literally started in 1770. There was a 6-year war that actually took place to make sure those things were in good order. And so we wanted to represent when it actually started. And so having that in place, it only made sense that once we created the Armory that we did the same thing and actually kept the names in line with each other.
So Edgar is all about not letting credit pass by when it's due. And so Crispus Attucks was not one of the first. He was the first.
Yes, he was
the first man to die, first bloodshed of the War of Independence.
Yes.
And I mean, people can do their own studying and their own history, but I have to say this about Crispus Attucks: he was one very handsome man.
He was, actually.
I saw a little lithograph of him with his hair all perfect and everything. I'm like, man, this was a shame. This man was a pretty man.
Yeah, he was a big man. He was like 6'4", and so he led that whole process. And so so we just really wanted to have people understand how America really started. Who shed the first blood for it? And there's just certain things that we just don't understand, as Americans. And so we wanted to make sure that information was out there for everybody to digest.
So what, let's see, I want to talk about Attucks gear, and I want to talk about other things, but I want to wait for Anubis to show up. So I want to talk about the class that we took, because Anubis participated in stuff, but you seem to put the most on the line for this class. So let me give a little background about this class. We did a survival class back in July with an instructor by the name of Akil Bey out of Baltimore. Runs a company called Taylor Defense Training Group, and I didn't have, and certainly you didn't have really any idea what we're getting into with this class at all.
At all.
So you had a little bit of preparation for this class, being a former Marine.
Yes.
You were Josh. Josh is in the chat. He's like, "This is giving me PTSD."
As
so
it gives to all of us.
You certainly had the mindset to get through this class.
Yes.
But you had some hurdles to get over physically.
Yes.
In order to get through this class. I don't know how deeply you want to talk about it, you can kind of give deep level or high level, details. But
actually, I have no problem talking about it. I think these are all things that we actually need to know as just people, right? And so understanding that sometimes your physical limitations, you can't let be your physical limitations. And so coming into that course over the weekend, like you said, we had absolutely no idea what we were getting into. I brought food. I thought I was eating all weekend. I brought all of this great stuff. But Akil surprised us and turned it into a mini boot camp process. And so basically all the gear that we brought out, we dumped and had to put back in our car. And so it kind of threw me off because I have a heart condition called dilated cardiomyopathy. And so I actually didn't preload my body prior to that situation in order for me to get through that weekend. And so for me, my biggest challenge was my health. And so me being a Marine, that allowed me to use some of the skill sets that I learned in the Marine Corps, which is a mind over matter skill set. And so, as you know, I never complained the entire weekend. I sucked it all up. And then the minute it was over, I ran to the trash can.
I think it was more like the second it was over.
Yes,
the last day, we spent almost the whole day on the shooting range, just doing a kind of a light defensive rifle class. And I say light because all of us were in rough shape on that last day. We were all tired, very low energy, no calories. We'd only been drinking water for the last 2 days. And even I was talking to one of the other students on Saturday. He told me he barely got through that portion of the class because he was just so beat by the whole thing. And this guy's pretty well in shape. Yes. He's a backpacker, hiker. He likes to go out and make things difficult for himself. And we were wrapping up, and there's always that moment at the end of a class where it's like, are we done? Is anybody going to do any more shooting? Okay, we are officially done. Yes. And I remember I grabbed something off the table, and I went over to the trash can to throw it away, and you're like, watch out, brother. And then you just went over to the trash can and
that's the only thing I could do. Because actually for me, right, on the second day when I saw how Akil would dismiss people if they weren't feeling well, right, I said to myself, oh, I can't be in that boat. And so it was just a matter of sucking up the whole situation. And I think one of the biggest things about the whole weekend, I think that was helpful to me, was actually having my team with me, right?
And who was on your team?
My team was Anubis Haru, Master Young, and Jesse Carter.
Okay.
I can honestly say if I probably didn't come out with those guys, I probably would have left on Saturday too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But having my team and actually just meeting the folks who are really going through the same thing together, I couldn't quit. And so you and Josh were great, right? So it was just a fun time, and I didn't want to see myself not complete that course. And Anubis would never let me live it down if I did. So
speaking of Anubis, we've got him now in the studio, sitting there looking very nice in those pearly white headphones.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
Anubis, you are Sean's business partner, longtime friend, co-conspirator, and why don't you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got started in the gun world?
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's good to hear you guys' voice. Edgar, beautiful space, man. So Sean and I got we became like partners in crime about, what did I say, 2009, about 11 years ago, something like that. Yeah. My ex at the time was good friends with his ex at the time, and we still best friends, and I don't think they are. So everything happens for a reason. But we started a clothing line around that same time called Urban Arcanum. And Urban Arcanum was, just kind of the beta test, as in being entrepreneurs and starting something kind of new and fresh. And with that, we learned a lot. We grew a lot, wasted a lot of money, but we didn't lose a lot of time and stuff because we learned and we gained some knowledge out of that. And arcanum means secret and mysterious knowledge. So we gained some arcanum through that whole process. And then, Sean's been in the military, so he's been shooting guns since probably 18 years old and before that. So I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to firearms. I've been doing martial arts since I was about 14. And so with that, martial disciplines have always been kind of something that I've had a drawing to. Like, I've always been drawn to that kind of stuff, combat, those kind of things. Surprisingly, I didn't go to the military or become law enforcement, but
just like to fight.
Yeah, man, love to spar. I wasn't always the best fighter, but I was more durable than most people would have realized until they got into the ring with me.
So Isaac, this dude said he's a late bloomer. This dude shoots extremely well.
Oh, I know. I've seen him shoot.
That's not even work.
I've seen him shoot.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yes. So when we were getting back to that class, I know everybody had at least one moment where they were like, and Anubis, you could probably confirm this, where you were like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm done, which was all mental for all of us, I think, except for Sean and for I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
The guy from Texas?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sean's problem is not just like, ooh, I'm tired. Sean's problem is my heart doesn't work, and I'm going to be using this thing at like full RPM for, 2 days.
With no fuel, by the way.
With no fuel, yeah. And I think that's, I don't know if Edgar would want to finish something like that, but being partners with somebody who doesn't like to quit, from what they're working on makes a big difference when it comes to being successful, because what we've been doing with Guns for Everyone and what you guys sound like you've been doing is, pushing for a long time, building stuff over a long period of time, and not taking defeat as your cue to quit.
No. I mean, actually, the good part about, I think, us being best friends is that we keep each other motivated, right? If I'm in a moment, if I can't, if I'm doing something that's not helping me, I call him my conscience, right? And so whenever I'm in a moment and I'm not sure how to process it, I call him and I say, hey, you're my conscience. How does this work out? How does this sound? And so
what it really sounds like is I'm about to choke shit out this dude. So I'm calling you to bring me back down before I get violent.
That is about the size of the situation.
That's how it sounds in reality.
Yes,
right?
That's how it sounds in reality. So he is my conscience. I tell him all the time, his friendship has been a blessing to me. Because I'm a pretty stern dude. I'm in my box a lot, and so the fact that he is open to other things and people has actually been a blessing to my space in my life. So I'm grateful to have him as a best friend. Actually,
I get those phone calls from Edgar too. They're kind of like, okay, I don't want to call you and ask you this question, but I know I probably should. Should I say this? How should And usually I try to talk him down, but sometimes I'm like, nah, go for it, man.
Yeah.
So that's the funny part. He will do that to me too sometimes, right?
I'll be like, nah, you deserve that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you handle that?
Yeah. So we have a great balance when it comes to that, and so that I think that's why we work well. And I think, like he spoke on with Urban Arcanum, that was just the start of the process of growth, I think, for both of us into things that we can do. And I don't think we ever saw that moment as a failure. We just actually saw it as a teaching moment and a learning lesson. And then we took that gap in between then and now to just hone our skills to be better business people and individuals.
Yeah, absolutely.
I give Edgar a lot of credit for not quitting on me, because not quitting at what he does, but just giving up on me. It's like, this dude is not gonna ever do anything. I need to let him go. He never did that. I don't know why.
Why is that, Edgar?
I don't know. I think sometimes you just see I got to a point where it was necessary for me. So I knew Isaac kind of from the beginning. We kind of just, I guess it just clicked. I mean, it's cliche and cheesy as shit to say that, but it's true. And every time I would fucking talk shit to him, he was one of those just like, oh, okay. It wasn't like, oh, no, fuck you. It was just like he kind of understood where I was coming from.
Right.
So when you have somebody like that who's able to like take an ass chewing, if you want to call it that, and still at the end of the day be like, cool, okay, well, I guess let's figure this shit out. For whatever reason, let's fucking figure this shit out. So it's easy not to give up on somebody who has that level, because most people, you tell them anything and they're like, oh, well, fuck you. Like, no, like I'm just telling you truth. Like,
I'm a grown ass man. What you mean? Talking crazy to me?
Like, so, no, we're just talking. Like, it's just,
So to be totally honest, 99% of the time, if Edgar's dealing out an ass chewing, you don't exactly know you're getting your ass chewed out until later when you think of like, oh, he meant everything he said. Because sometimes when he's, a lot of times when he's doing that, you're like, ha ha ha, yeah, it's funny, you know, because he doesn't really sound any different. Unless he gets real mad, which I don't think I've ever seen him really get mad at something. And so, you know, he'll be saying something to you, and then later you're like, oh, yeah, he meant that. Oh, okay. And I think I just for a long time didn't even realize that you that you were chewing me out. Because I'm kind of dense when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, but Edgar had big visions like early on, and I was kind of like, you know, this wasn't this Guns for Everything one idea wasn't a big plan for me. This was kind of more of like,
you
hey,
don't
let's
even know the proper name. He calls it Guns for Everything.
Yeah, I was like,
what did I say?
Guns for Everything.
Guns for everything.
What?
Guns for everyone.
What?
Guns for foxes.
I cannot believe that.
That's funny.
Jeez,
That's how serious he's about this shit.
man,
That was hilarious.
I am embarrassed.
That's all good.
That's what happens when you try to read and talk at the same time. Okay, I don't have anything, man. I got nothing.
No, you're good. You know, it's funny about what you're saying. I think him and I work the same way. Actually, I think that's really how our friendship is really built. Like, we would talk trash to each other hardcore, right? And we both know it's not personal, right? We both know that it's to make the best version of ourselves. And so when you can find a best friend or a counterpart or a business partner that you can have that relationship with, it changes everything. And so, yeah, I love that. So yeah, you guys sound just like us.
Yeah, man. I mean, because here's the thing: you if you've been in business before, you tried to get something started before, not everybody's built for that whole process of building something from the bare bones, fucking molecules. Like, you know, we're literally playing alchemists and putting things together, you know, molecule by molecule. And not everybody's built for that. Some people's built for being an employee, and other people are built for creating something, you know, that leaves a legacy. You know, for their family and their kids, and you know, it just so many different things that are involved, and you guys know what it takes to really, you know, really build something. So. But yeah, I mean, this dude right here, man, you know, we run so many things off of each other, bounce so many ideas off of each other, and we work so well. Now, don't get me wrong, like we've had our, you know, our issues, and you know, this dude is like Edgar cussed me all the way out, and I knew I was getting cussed out, and I mean, because we're about what, almost 9 years apart.
Yeah, 9 years apart.
Yeah, so I'm the little brother. You know, but I ain't. You know, I'm kind of like, wait, what? Like, man, talking crazy. You know, but he's the big brother, so we balance each other out in a very unique way, and people can see it. So.
Oh, I forgot to ask you really quick. I'm fucking up your flow. You good on the headphones?
Yeah, I'm good on the headphones. Yeah, I hear really good. Edgar gave me the ones that his kids use, so I have some bubble gum or gummy bears or something, in my earlobe later.
Yeah, ear herpes.
I'm not putting them headphones on now.
So I would say, I mean, honestly, I don't have that natural entrepreneurial spirit. I do have
Facts.
I have
Facts.
facts, no doubt. Can't even get the name right. Dave says the guest mics could be a little louder, Edgar.
Okay.
I don't have that, but I do.
A little closer.
When the guests talk, just turn up the volume.
Yeah, just turn up the volume while they're talking.
I love Edgar.
Turn me up.
Yeah, see, so Edgar would be me, and Isaac would be a new.
Yeah. So I do kind of have like this attitude of, I want to do what people don't want me to do. I want to do things. I mean, I don't come up with great ideas. I hear things. I'm like, I'm going to do the opposite of that. And I think that's kind of helped us be creative with Guns for Everyone. I think that's definitely left me open for opportunities where Edgar says, we should do this. I'm like, dude, I'm down. Who doesn't want us to do this? Okay, then let's do it. Yeah. And I think that's been something that's helped us stay flexible and push forward through difficulties. Kind of bonded us too through some crazy times. Yesterday's class, the drive home, I went sliding off the road at one point on the drive home, and I wasn't complaining because I was like, this is kind of like the last time Edgar and I went and did something like this. When we went out to Grand Junction, we almost died coming home, for a class. And I'm like, I enjoy this. This is fun for me. Like I'm not mad that I almost crashed because it's like an adventure. I'm enjoying the unpredictability. I'm enjoying putting something on the line for something I care about. And I mean, that's just a small example, but it happened yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. But
Like literally yesterday?
Yeah, literally yesterday. I was.
Did you have to change your drawers after that?
No. Actually, I was pretty stoked after it was over because when you're sliding and you hit the brakes and you're like, oh, if I stay on the brakes, I'm just gonna hit this thing,
Yeah.
So I came off the brakes and I just hit the gas as hard as I could, and managed to get out of it. So
Nice.
yeah, otherwise it would have been right through the fence, but.
Oh, that's not good. So what was you on an icy road, snowy road? Was it?
Yeah, it was. You guys been out there on the ranch a couple of times. I was out there, and there was a few inches of snow out there.
Oh, he was on a ranch, actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I hadn't even made it to the highway yet. I still had another 60, 70 miles to go.
Oh, okay, yeah. You was having too much fun, I think.
Yeah. So I think that kind of that attitude, I think Edgar appreciates that. I think he does, because he knows. Because he comes up with some crazy ideas. I mean, he called me a couple years ago I don't know, it was 10 o'clock at night. He's like, hey, you want to go to Compton this weekend? Like, what? He goes, I'll buy your plane ticket. I'm like, I can't go to Compton. Are you crazy? What are you talking about? And then 20 minutes later, like, all right, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's Nipsey land. That's the marathon out there, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's
Good
actually fun
stuff.
stuff. I mean, that's how he works too. I get texts and emails 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I was like, "I'm sleeping." That's what I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, that's besides the point. What the fuck do you think about that shit?
Right. And that's him.
He asked you a fucking question.
Bro.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is it. So, but I love it. So, and I think that's the other cool part about it is that we both know what we're doing and we know our lanes, right? Mm-hmm. And so the cool part is that as we're building the brands, we're not actually building them in different directions, but going to the same direction at the same time. So when he's working on the creativity of it, the aesthetics of it, and how it looks, I'm able to take those things and do the business piece of it and meet new people and do things. And so I think we just have a great dynamic together that I just would never, ever change, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Attucks wear, or Attucks gear, sorry.
Oh,
and
Fucking your shit up too.
I know.
That's just going to be
it's all
Isaac's
good.
MO.
We got Anubis Mcwilliams here with us tonight.
That's good stuff. Isaac.
Oh, owner of 1492 Armory.
Oh shit!
That's
Christopher
So-
Columbus wearing. Damn, you about to conquer, bitches.
Discover.
So-
Discover.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
That's awesome, Isaac.
So Sean said something because I didn't exactly pick up on this as I was looking at the website, which is attucksgear.com, ATTUX
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
gear whatever.com.
Yep.
I put it in the show notes. I shared that in the
Appreciate you.
chat. This is range gear
Yes.
Yes.
mostly, right?
Mostly range
Mostly.
gear, streetwear. Will definitely evolve into some tactical range wear. Gloves, glasses, ear protection, that kind of thing. We'll just see where it goes, man. I mean, sometimes these things grow legs and they just start going in the direction that you had no idea, but it's working. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So when we talk about range gear, these shirts, are these like kind of more geared toward athletic stuff?
Yeah, so they have a very form, fashion cut to them.
Yeah, I could tell these dudes are all ripped.
Yeah, yeah.
No ladies though. I don't see any ladies out here.
So the cool thing about those particular shirts is they're unisex.
Oh, okay.
So there are some ladies that have purchased, and for some reason it just kind of forms and fits, and I don't know how it works with the t-shirts, but they're designed in a way to be very complementary to a woman's figure. So, eventually it'll evolve into a particular, like a ladies line. But that's just expensive. So
Yeah,
right now
yeah.
they're going to get this unisex and they can do that kind of thing because, when I design these shirts, a graphic designer, it just kind of, I'll just have an idea about something and I'll go and, design it and that kind of thing. And I would love to have a young lady on the team, that can help guide me in that feminine energy, or hopefully she'd be a graphic designer. I don't know. But Attucks really evolved from a need, right? So we know grunt style is very popular. They $100 million a year or something insane like that.
Oh, I think they let money ruin them though. I heard they threw out their CEO
Yes.
Oh,
or something along those lines.
real?
Yeah. I mean, don't quote me on that, but there's
Yeah.
trouble brewing over there.
Yeah, too much money flowing in.
Yeah, yeah.
Too
So,
successful.
Yeah, too successful. Yeah.
Probably too successful. Well, no, they've been around for a little while though.
No, I mean just the amount of money, and then
Yeah.
people get greedy, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is my cut. This is." My
I'll try to
cut."
find a link while you're
Yeah.
going on.
But we know that African Americans and other people of color, Native Americans, have contributed militarily to defending this country. You got the Wind Talkers, the Navajo, who created a code that was unbroken, I believe, by the Germans or whoever we fighting at that particular time, and they get recognition through these films, and it's never through the eyes of the people who actually lived it or their actual culture or whatever, what have you. So we have the Harlem Hellfighters, one of the most decorated units in the Army at that time in 1913. We have the Black Panther Tank Battalion. I'm laughing because this dude, he said we're recruiting for the Black Panther Party because it said the Fighting Black Panthers. And it had this big ass tank on the front, dude. And I was just like, bro, I didn't want to be disrespectful to him or anything like that. I just kind of hit him with a little knowledge, and he came back like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean to be disrespectful." Like, yeah, dude, it's good, But
I'm such a hater.
right. So a lot of the gear is towards highlighting those African American units like the Tuskegee Airmen and the triple nickel, the Buffalo Soldiers, and those kind of things, because a lot of that history is hidden and kind of tucked away in some library somewhere, and it's really rich culture and rich history. And we're 500 years removed from quote unquote Africa, right? Genetically, we're still somewhat, hey, everybody's damn near African, right? But culturally, African Americans are 500 years removed. So we have a stake in this country, and militarily, we have a stake in building the infrastructure. And I just thought it would be really not only really cool, but a history lesson as well with the brand. So, and it's also some shit I want to wear, right? I only rock Attucks, and it's really cool to wear something that you've created. So.
Absolutely. My shirts suck, and I'm still happy to wear them. Every time I pick them up, I'm like, come on, man, this is dumb, but it's mine.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So your stuff looks very clean, and I'm just doing a little, while you're talking, I'm just doing a quick scan of this Smithsonian article about the Harlem Hellfighters. I didn't know this stuff. I didn't know any of this stuff. And
yeah, man.
And this regiment, the 36th, came out of Harlem in the 1913.
Yeah.
You're talking about, like, if you relate this historically, you're not that far out from this, what am I trying to say? The, Gangs of New York. Gangs of New York has basically tried to do a very close-up view of what the battle for power and influence and for the rights of different groups of people, and so you talk about these communities in 1913, they're not very far removed from some of the most brutal conditions that the United States has ever had to offer outside of slavery.
Right.
And I mean, these must have been hard men. I mean, anybody who came out of New York must have been a hard man,
Bro,
or woman.
Honestly, like, when you read that story in its totality, they weren't given real training, right? They weren't giving the best equipment. They were just kind of cannon fodder, damn near, the placeholders, that kind of thing. But when they were in France and, just as cooks and, building ditches and shit like that, and the Germans came in and it was like, oh shit. And then so these men just mustered up whatever, I don't know if it was a combination of just pure testosterone and spirit, to deal with that as a threat. So it's interesting because that's one story. The Tuskegee Airmen were another unit, and there are just so many stories. You know what I mean? So these different regiments. You read about these. If you're lucky, you'll hear something about this one, and you'll go read about it, and this is crazy. But these wars were so long ago. These wars were so big that these stories definitely get lost. I don't know of any World War I history that's still being taught in schools today, other than that just it happened, Yep.
And there are lots of examples of people who made the difference, in a small way or in a big way, and it's cool that you can put that on a shirt and people are like, Harlem Hellfighters. Oh, 1913. Well, what is that? Because that automatically sparks some interest. This is not just a label. This is not just, a graphic. This is like, oh man, what is that? I want to know more about that. And the Black Panthers, like, I don't know anything about that. I mean, everybody knows about the Black Panthers, but nobody that I know knows about any tank division.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. Jackie Robinson was a part of that particular battalion.
Yes.
And so when he came out of that, he was playing baseball, and he joined the Negro Leagues, and then he got inducted into the Major League Baseball. So yeah, man, the history and the culture is just mind-boggling. And design-wise, I've kind of learned how to try to be simple yet, something that's going to capture the eye, right? Because it's a pro-Second Amendment brand as well. So it's not just, history, but it's also, I fucking love guns.
Mm-hmm.
I love guns. I love shooting. I love that martial skill. So I'm going to rock some shit with guns on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, when we go to the range, it's like, people that we see who've purchased that are on Instagram and all this kind of stuff, and they're posting their Attucks gear, and I'm just like, that is a crazy feeling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Sean can attest to it as well when we see customers like having a real sense of pride. And it's not even like, I don't know how close it is to hitting critical mass or anything like that. But, we just got an order today of like almost $200. And I'm just like, that's crazy, So just the culture and just trying to create something different, and not saying that we don't like grunt style, because I think grunt style has some dope designs. And I'm like, that's hot, but because I'm biased, I'm not gonna, go out and purchase it or whatever. But
yeah,
and I'll jump in on that one, right? And so we have nothing against any of the other brands, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we want to be able to teach something, right? I don't want you to just buy a T-shirt, right? Hey,
wait. So when's the Punisher design coming out? Come on, I can't wait for another Punisher design. Come on, it's gonna sell,
man. Probably 2080. How about that?
yeah, when your employees have thrown you out of your company.
Oh God.
As long as I get paid, it's okay.
Yeah, bro.
As long as we get paid to get kicked out, it's all good. But really, the whole thing was just to give under-marginalized people some type of confidence, and at the same time, right? And so, us always going to the range, and I'll just be straight up and candid, going to the range, and we always kind of being the only people out there, right? Having people make us feel like we don't belong half the time, right?
I want to come back to that. Don't let me forget. I want to come back to that.
No problem.
Yeah,
cool. Yep. No, so
keep going. Keep going.
No problem. So that's kind of where it kind of happened for us, right? Is that we were going into these places, and even the marginalized people who were wearing it, right? They didn't even want to wear it, right? But they was like, well, this is the only thing I know what to wear when I go to the range. And so that's kind of where that comes from too, right? And so not only with the military people that we want to honor, we just want to honor everybody who's actually doing something that means something, right? And so if you have been missed in this country for your contributions, we want everybody to know what that contribution really looks like, right? Mm-hmm. We want that community, that culture to get the recognition that they deserve, right? And so that's really kind of where it comes from too, right? I am a Marine. I was in the Marine Corps, right? I know what that's like to have people not pay attention to you just because of the color of your skin, right? Or have people not think that you're as qualified as they are because of the color of your skin. And so that's really kind of where it came from too. Him and I have been shooting for years, and we walk into different places, and people just don't think that we have the education in the shooting concept. And then we say, yes, I'm an instructor, I do this, I do that. Then they're like in awe. And so so just to be very candid, it was just more of we were going into spaces, and nobody was making us feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. And so we knew that if we had that feeling, we were not the only people having that feeling. And so we wanted to tackle an area and make people feel comfortable going into a situation.
Yeah, because if you put on a grunt style T-shirt and you walk into a gun range, everybody's just going to high five you immediately.
Yes.
If you walk in there, it's like it's the uniform,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't feel at home in that uniform,
yes,
you're not going to be like, oh man, I got to wear this stupid grunt style T-shirt into the range now, just to make everybody feel like I belong here. So the question I want to ask is like when you go to a range and you talk about being the only black dude on the shooting line or the only black dude in the store, and you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel welcome or whatever. Like, what does that actually? How does that play out? What does that feel like? Because I don't know what that feels like. I don't. Yeah. Number one, I'm not really good at reading people anyway, so even if I wasn't welcome in a gun store, I probably wouldn't even know it until they kick me out. But I think a lot of people in this industry want to believe that kind of stuff doesn't exist. And I just want to hear from you guys, like what your personal experience is, either specifically or just in general.
I'll leave the store nameless, but he was here in Colorado. I walked into a store to just look at some firearms that I just actually wanted to purchase.
Why are you going to leave it nameless, though?
That's just who I am.
Edgar Cosby.
Yeah, I know, right? I would just leave it nameless.
Troublemaker.
I would just leave it nameless.
No, it's not that I'm a troublemaker. It's just like if there's legit issues with
well, you know what? The reason I'll leave him nameless is because the customer said something and the owner didn't do anything with the process.
They didn't deal with it. Yeah.
But they were both basically there as friends, right?
Yeah.
So here it is, a small store, walk into it. I actually was about to buy me an AR from him, right?
Yeah.
And as I walk in and I'm standing at the counter, one of the gentlemen who was just sitting at the counter, who was a customer, and says, "Oh, I see fucking liberals want to come in here and buy weapons." And I was like,
man.
hold on. It's only 3 of us in here. Right? So you have to be talking to me, right?
Right.
And then so when I heard that, I just took my pause, slowly walked over to where he was, and I said, just so you know, I'm not a fucking liberal, and I do already own guns.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we go through when we go to stores, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't even necessary, right? It was like, little did he know, I was a gun instructor and a Marine for 8 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, have either one of you ever been in the service?
Yeah.
No. I said, so I was a Marine for 8 years. So how are we even having this conversation when I actually took the time to go defend this country and you just sitting your fat ass right here talking shit? Right.
Wait a minute. These guys were fat?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No, he was. I can tell you that for sure, right?
That doesn't sound like that type of person.
And so I was frustrated with the store owner because he didn't say anything. He didn't jump in the conversation. He just let it happen.
Yeah.
And so that just let me know that he agreed with the customer that was in the store. And so, and then when that moment happened, I called him. He knew it. And I just said, no, we can't have this anymore. We got to figure out how to have our own situation, our own stores.
So, and I struggle with this because you guys are the cool guys right now. Mexicans are kind of on the back end. Like nobody looks at us right now. So, and I bring this up a lot, especially when I'm having conversations with black guests, because it's a real issue. And a lot of white people often always come back and they're like, well, like, why is that important to you guys? We're like, no, it just like you don't get it. Like if you're a kid, let's look at basketball in the 80s. I'm gonna just take it there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like white people needed Larry Bird.
Yes.
He was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
bad motherfucker. But like if you look at him, like the NBA was going black. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Heavily African American black. And a lot of the white people are like, what the fuck? It's becoming the black league.
Yes.
Well, they didn't say it that way, but it's becoming the black league. Oh, so you get it. Like you need to see somebody that looks like you represent you and kind of show your worth to a degree and understanding. So like you get it. Like you're sick and tired of talking about Magic and Jordan, Kareem Abdul and all that stuff. So for me, it's like, why is it important for you guys to have that? For those that may not understand why it really is important to have somebody that kind of looks like you be represented in space. I mean, this is your guys' moment, but like, so answer that one, and then I want you to answer how does it feel to be in the moment right now?
How does that spotlight feel? Because Edgar wants some of that warmth.
So not to be funny, right? The spotlight doesn't bother me. Actually, I kind of welcome it, right? I think as long as you're having the conversation with the right people, it's always a good conversation. And to speak to Edgar, I would love for our two communities to really come together in that concept, in that conversation, right? Not to be funny, white people love guns. They already have that thing on lock on how they want to do it.
Especially disturbed white teenagers.
Just a little bit, right?
They love them.
They love them, right? And so I just want us as a community just to understand what they're really used for, right? We always have this thing that, we think that we used against us, and that's really not it. And so we're in it to try to change the conversation.
Yeah.
We're here today with you guys to show people that we can be from different cultures and backgrounds and still have the same conversation because we're still from the same community, right? And so how do we take this community with all different cultures and colors and races and bring it together without all of that other bullshit that we have to deal with? And so I think that's the other reason we created the virtual range, right? Is that we run into so many minorities who are either anti-gun, scared of guns, would never hold a gun, that we had to figure out how do we make this an easy process for our people to try so we can have the conversation. Correct. So that's really what it comes from. So you're dead on in what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just often, I mean, and this conversation is being had a lot because, I mean, it's me. Yeah. And I always like to have, because everybody has their own outlook. Mm-hmm. I've had conversations with black people who are just like, I don't see it. Like, I don't feel that way. Yeah. And it's just like, and that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. But like for me, for the longest time, I wasn't the guy. I wasn't. Believe it or not, like race is not necessarily a huge issue for me. It never has been. Right. My wife is probably the only one that can kind of speak to that. I've never been the guy like, look at me, I'm Mexican and Mexican. That started recently when I started looking around at the gun community and I'm like, holy fuck, like there's a fuck ton of white people and then them pandering to black people right now. Totally. And then like us, it's just like, hey, we're shooters too. Like, hey, we want a piece of the pie too. Yeah. And it's just like, no, it's not your turn, homie.
I mean, that's really what it's like, right? And not to be funny, I mean, I think for us, it's only our turn because of George Floyd, right? If that conversation didn't happen the way that it happened, I still don't think it would be our turn, right? And I'll say this openly too: it's still not our turn. Yeah. And the reason I say that is that 4 weeks ago? Yeah. I had my concealed carry permit. Yeah. I was legal to carry. Yeah. I got arrested. Yeah. To this day, DPD still haven't told me why. Yeah. But the only thing that I can say is I was.
You got booked and everything?
Oh yeah. And then they turned around and said, "Oh, we really didn't arrest you. We detained you for your safety.
Yeah. We just booked you and took your mugshot." And
so they didn't do all of those things.
They didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. So it was just a bad situation I'm still dealing with them. But that's the same thing, right? So what I do know is in that moment, they detained me, took me to the sheriff's department. But the weekend prior to that, they had stopped 2 other white men, didn't do the same thing. The weekend after that, 2 more white men downtown did the same thing, and the action wasn't the same.
Correct.
When they stopped me, there were 24 police officers.
Yeah.
Full SWAT riot gear,
Full SWAT riot gear. Yeah. And we just walking
down the street.
Because you're tall. right. So that was a conversation for them, right? And then even after that moment, I'm prior military. Yeah. One thing that was very striking in that moment for me, when I looked at all of the officers, the amount of weapons they had on them. Right? Correct. I said, okay, here it is. I'm a Marine. I went to Desert Storm, Desert Shield. They said, here's a bayonet, a sidearm, and a rifle. Yeah. Go get it in.
Good.
But when I'm standing here looking at these cops, I'm like, okay, y'all have 2 sidearms. You have a shotgun on your back, an AR on the other side, and 2 paintball guns. Yeah. And then you got all of these twisty ties on your body. I'm confused.
Correct.
So if you're policing just civilians who are not having the weapons that I have to deal with in war, why do you need 6 weapons every day when you go out? And here it is. I can go to Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and I get 3 weapons. Yep. I'm super confused by that concept, and I don't understand how the police department does.
And half those weapons in Iraq don't work.
Correct. That's correct, right?
Body armor was hard to find.
Yeah. So it's a challenge for me when I see that, right? So when I was sitting there watching this moment, I was like, this doesn't work. I'm like, and then even when the crowd was trying to ask questions just to the police.
Yeah.
First thing they did was point their paintball guns at everybody.
Correct.
And I'm like, so just that whole state and that whole moment. So I get what you're saying. That's our moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still an uncomfortable moment for us.
Correct.
And yeah, it's just uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's weird how a lot of the stuff that gets ignored. I'm going to kind of take it back a little bit because I was fucking around with audio shit and Isaac was ignoring me on the chat. Which I had to come and get you. But on the history thing, one of the things that I learned about my minority, my group on the military side is we're the only minority that's fought in every single one of U.S.'s battles.
Yes.
Every single one of them. Even against our own people, like every single one of them.
Yeah.
Hispanics are the most decorated in a minority. And we're often like the most ignored, the most like you don't get shit, like no statue,
Not even a movie.
not even a movie.
Yeah.
Yo, we don't even get an actor in the movie.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at all the movies, there are none. Right?
There's nothing.
There's nothing.
There's not a motherfucking thing
Yeah.
about that shit.
Yeah.
I thought of one.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I thought of one.
Go for it.
In Fury, did you see Fury,
Oh, I didn't watch
No.
Fury.
the tank movie?
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Michael Pena's
Yep.
in it.
Yep, Michael Pena. Yeah,
Yep.
he put in work too.
Oh man, he was good. Everybody
put
was
in
good in
mad
that movie.
work. Yeah,
but he's
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
Spanish in the movie.
Which
Of course,
one's Michael Pena?
He's
The short fat guy, the
no, he's
that's
kind
another,
of
because
kind
that
of a
Puerto
younger
Rican one.
no.
Nah,
Well, let me check. Let me check where Michael Pena's from before.
Because this Puerto Rican one, I forgot about him last time when we were talking about actors. He's a short, fat, ugly motherfucker.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puerto
He
Rican.
was in the one
pretty
with Don Cheadle in that one movie.
Crash? No, not Crash.
It might have been Crash.
He was in Crash, but I don't think Cheadle was.
I'm
Yeah.
forgetting.
You're
Either way.
gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah,
out
yeah,
here.
yeah.
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I thought you were talking about.
Yeah.
You gotta
But
look
nah,
that
that dude
up and
is.
see something.
I don't know how he gets roles. He was in a movie where Arnold, when Arnold was just like the old sheriff,
Yeah.
and he was one of his
Short
deputies.
fucker.
Yeah,
ugly
right.
motherfucker.
I was like,
I know exactly.
He's
what you're
good,
talking
though.
about.
I'm like,
He's
damn,
good.
how did
Yeah,
he
he's good.
get
He's good.
in the industry? But he acts his ass off though.
He does. He definitely does.
So Wikipedia doesn't say where Michael Pena is from.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Good
He
stuff.
must
So-
be Mexican, man.
But he's
Trying to hide that shit. This fucker's so Mexican, we're gonna hide that shit.
he was basically born in L.A.
He's Mexican. Okay, I got you. LA is what they all say they want. Perhaps so it works.
Yeah.
Funny.
No, but he did represent in Fury, and
Yeah.
everybody did. I mean, Shia LaBeouf played this like hardcore religious dude, and it was a great movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've talked about this a bunch. You know, not getting the representation, and I think that there is an underlying current in the gun world that certain people who are getting attention maybe don't always deserve it because we're just playing to that crowd, but then when I see people who take on the responsibility to just be competent and confident and like, I'm not listening to anybody, I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to do it well, and I'm going to represent for who I want to represent for, but I'm not going to coast through this stuff.
Right.
And that's what I saw from all you guys in that class, because you guys came as a group, you and Master and Anubis and you, Sean, and Jesse. And the attitude was like, we're not just going to finish this. We're going to survive, like we're going to be at the top of the class if that exists here, We're going to hold each other up and we're going to do well. We're going to help everybody on the team. And there wasn't in that, I think that whole weekend there was like no discussion at all of anything related to race or anything like that.
Nah,
But
man, because
it's like you show up show up with something to prove as a man, not as anything else.
Yeah.
But realizing that you're reflecting everything about your past, your history, your people, you know, and it's like it's really hard to quantify because especially for me, I'm coming like the only thing I was worried about that weekend was like I want everything to go smoothly because I'm hosting and you know, and
motherfuckers start getting kicked out. You're like,
people get kicked out, dude.
Yo, sheriffs was
the
showing
sheriff-
up, homie. Like, motherfuckers was shitting on themselves. It was
I
crazy.
know. I'm
I
like,
was like, God damn.
It was a wild weekend. That's the truth.
oh my god, dude.
Motherfuckers was hungry, eating.
Tree
Yeah.
bark.
So it
Yo.
was,
Yeah.
just as an aside, when that sheriff pulled up, I had my rifle slung on me, and Kelly, the other instructor, she said, "You want to take your rifle off, you know?" And I was like, "No." And to be honest, 50% of that was like, "This is my property. I'm not going to take."
Yeah.
And the other 50% was just I was so frustrated and like tired and everything, and
hungry.
like hungry. And one person, "You want to take that rifle off? Leave me alone. I don't want to do nothing." Like, we got to get these cops out of here, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was just hangry, I guess, when I said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but it was pretty funny because by the end of it, you know, the cops are taking selfies with the instructors and everything. And, but I like your t-shirt company. I mean, your range gear company, Attucks Wear. Like this is like legit stuff. This is not corny. This is not some corny shit.
I appreciate it, man.
And I think that kind of reflects the whole attitude. Like, you know, we're appealing. You know, the name of the company's Attucks. Obviously, there's a link right here to Crispus Attucks, so people know what the history is. But you know, these are some good clothes. We're not just expecting you to buy our stuff just because we're the same color as you.
That's right.
You know,
it's
like proud of who you are and what you've earned, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
know?
man. And you know, the other thing is, you know, as a creative, you know, because I've, you know, been in film school and I've written films. I have a comic book that's published. And I don't like putting my name on shit that isn't top quality. Yeah. Like, I can't put my name on it. Like, my integrity, my spirit, you know what I'm saying? My legacy, all that stuff comes into play. So I take a very long time to pick and choose, you know, what I'm going to be a part of. And then so, you know, with Attucks, it was just kind of like the idea popped up. I thought it was a great demographic and a great niche. And then it took a little longer to execute because of COVID and stuff like that. But I think in waiting and being forced to kind of wait, you know, for things to, you know, manufacturing wise to come about, it made us better, you know, in how we wanted to execute it. So, nah, man, I think it'll be something that's here for a while. I see some, I don't want to call them biters because I think ideas are universal, right? I don't think ideas are just, you know, one person, you know, has an idea or whatever. But it's just kind of funny. Like, I'll see quotes on T-shirts that I put out, and then like 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. There's something a little similar going on right here. And I'm like, all right. Yeah. But it's interesting because we've created a real brand. Mm-hmm. We're not just a T-shirt company, and it's not just a label, it's a real brand, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think that it will eventually become a lifestyle brand. Mm-hmm. Something that people of all walks will be like, yo, that's fucking Attucks, that's quality shit. Because they've been around, they have longevity, and we know we're gonna get good quality stuff.
And it makes me look good. Can you design a shirt that form fits me everywhere except for my tactical shelf, my belly?
That's good.
It's just loose right there, but everywhere else is tight.
Interesting.
So I'm looking at your comic book here, Acid of the Gods. I put a link in the show notes for this too. Man, you are a man of many talents here. This
Thanks,
is some
man.
good stuff, man. I'm not really a comic book person, but
Yeah.
I can tell you spend your time being very creative. So this is cool stuff. You were in the Westward. You got a feature here in the Westward back in 2017.
Yes. We were doing a Kickstarter, and I was being overzealous, asking for $25,000.
Nice.
But I
Ed would
had
be like, you didn't ask for enough.
yeah, bro. Like exactly. So, but yeah, it's just with my dad's always told me to be multidimensional, right? Don't just be an artist, be a visionary. Don't just be a visionary, be someone who, can, really go into other dimensions and create like a real Renaissance person. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I've been blessed with these different things that I can do well. And it gets difficult sometimes to kind of hone in on what I'm going to give my attention to. And you got a family, I got a 2-year-old tornado of a daughter.
Nola.
Nola, she's amazing, but she is not destructive, but she's busy, like the busiest 2-year-old I've ever seen in my life. And so giving her attention and my 12-year-old son attention, who's a preteen and getting ready to be coming into manhood and those kind of things. And then I have all these ideas and I'm just like, fuck, where do I? So it really comes down to time management, right? And with firearms, I love firearms and I love shooting so much. The virtual range is just so sweet, man, because I can get in my trigger time and I don't have to spend like my hard-earned money on my ammo that I got stacked up just in case shit really goes down. I'm like, no, I got ammo at the crib, homie, and I still be practicing like, every stinking day.
So let's talk about your range real quick at 1770 Armory. You had reached out to me because you guys wanted to do some photo work down at the ranch, and then I don't know how, but I just happened to stumble onto this article that you guys at Denverite.com that you guys had opened this range. And I was like, how come you didn't tell me this too, man? Like, how come you didn't tell me opening a shooting range, a virtual range? So what kind of technology are you using for your virtual range?
So the original idea was to come together and create a gun store and a gun range, not only for marginalized people, but I don't know, because I'm not gay, but I can imagine that gay people maybe, don't feel comfortable going into, gun ranges and gun stores and things like that. I know for myself, it's been some, situations like Sean has had. So we wanted to come together with these other entrepreneurs and enthusiasts, and it was going to be live fire. But for me, a live fire range would just be another live fire range that black people own. That shit ain't, it's cool, but we wanted to create something different. So we came up with an idea with utilizing technology, and the technology's there is great. And we created 1770 Armory out of that. So it's a simulated infrared firing range. And we use proprietary softwares, proprietary hardwares that, replica real firearms and work like real firearms and things like that shoot IR lasers. So with those IR lasers, the software picks up your shots. And we know, because we're all gunfighters here, we know that dry fire is important. We know that, oh shit, I pulled that shot. Even though there's no recoil, right? So that's a question that we get asked all the time. Well, what about recoil? What about recoil? Dude, if you're dry firing and your laser is telling you that your shot placements suck, I'm not wasting my time to go out to a live fire range so I can sit here and try to get you to stop fucking, anticipating the recoil, right? And pushing forward and all these other different things that people do when recoil is a factor. So an amazing lady named Wanda James and her husband Scott, they have some really cool businesses, and we all got together, man, and we started this thing. and it's really taken off to be kind of like I don't know, Sean, you jump in because I'll ramble.
Well, actually, Anubis kind of broke it down really well. We've just been trying to figure this whole process out. He loved to shoot. I loved to shoot. We were going to different indoor gun ranges, developing relationships with, like, say, Triple J, Blue Core, and things like that. Excuse me. And the more that we went, the more the desire to have our own kind of just kicked in. The more that we were doing in the process, the more the desire to want to be that person was there. And so that's just really where it came from in that whole concept. And so us meeting Wanda James and Josh Graham one day when we were at the shooting range doing some training, they just actually were impressed with the training process that we put together as the Gun Tailors in that moment. And so they actually came to us to ask for some type of private training. And so in the process of asking for private training, we really just talked about the idea of having our own school, our own process, our own everything. And so Wanda James loved the idea. And so probably since April of this year, we've been going back and forth trying to develop the idea, find the proper technology, the proper firearms to do the technology, try to find an amazing building that fits the technology. And the biggest deal was that once we realized we wasn't going to do a live gun range, we had to figure out how to help people understand what virtual dry firing really looked like.
Right.
We had already created a process with our students where we had them on this dry firing process. And so we watched how their accuracy improved just by us constantly staying with them with the dry fire, And so it only made sense that we put together an organization in the school that allowed people to really do that in real time and really see the progression level in what they're doing. And so that's really where the whole process came from. We knew that there was a shortage in ammunition.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we were trying to shoot all year,
Toilet paper and ammo.
telling our students, hey, go get ammo from here, that was pretty much almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
And so this was the best alternative that we could provide. And so we have what we have today, 1770 Army and Gun Club. We have the Gun Tailors, who are actually the trainers on the inside of the system. But it really came about as a need. We knew the community needed something, and we wanted to provide a need for the community.
Yeah.
Well, I like it, man. I like it a lot. Looking at pictures of, you're doing a lot with not a lot of space. You're creating a space where people can get a lot of learning done, but you're not extending past, what would be wise to do, right? I mean, opening a gun range right now has got to be ridiculously expensive and, probably not a great idea. But putting together a training program where anybody can come, you don't need, like you said, a whole bunch of ammo. You don't need to bring a lot with you. You can just go and get some good training in and enjoy yourself while you're doing it. And I mentioned doing a lot with a little because that's what Guns for Everyone has done since forever. The first classroom Edgar had, I was like, wow, this sucks. Like, this is tiny, but he was able to get thousands of students through there. And then he managed to downsize from there and go to a smaller space and still crank out the work. And it's really inspiring to see people just not let, stuff stop them from getting things done. So, and you got a cop in here who apparently you shot better than?
He got that work.
Yes, he did.
And I'm going back really quick. I got my CCW from Edgar.
Oh, okay.
At the Shootist. I became an RSO with one of our fellow instructors.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. Yeah, you told me you guys worked. You worked as RSOs at the Shootist.
Yep. So, good stuff, man. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Master's shirt has his name on it. You know, your shirt's got your name on it, Sean. Yours. Do people just assume that Master's in charge when he's walking around?
Yeah, bro. You already know. Like, I'm like, yeah, his name is Master, but he ain't gonna whip me. Nah, Master's a good dude.
Yeah. So
very proficient.
And very focused. Very focused. I was talking to Sean about this before we got started. He was at the survival class and I was falling asleep the second night. I'm trying to act like I'm not falling asleep, but I'm falling asleep. I'm sitting up and I'm supposed to be on watch for my team and I am just losing it. And
was it in the ditch?
No, it wasn't in the ditch.
Okay.
This was up on the bluff.
The ditch sucked.
And the ditch sucked. So I'm sitting there dozing off and Master keeps walking by. He's like, you all right? You all right? Yeah, man, I'm good. You staying awake? Yes, I am staying awake. I'm like, could you stop walking by? Could you give me,
leave me alone.
Give me 10 straight minutes without you coming by here. But he was on his feet, just walking in circles, making sure everybody was doing their job. And this is after, about 36 to 40 hours of pretty intense exercise, training, no food, and he's like, "No, man, nobody's gonna slack off tonight."
That's massive. Yeah, that's totally massive.
Yeah. So, and so you guys are gonna come out to the ranch this weekend, apparently, to come do some shooting, some photo shooting.
So actually, that was supposed to be yesterday.
That was supposed to be yesterday
until the snowman came.
Yeah, Jack Frost and Murphy got together and was like, "Nah, son.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta do this another day."
Yeah, I woke up to do that class yesterday, and I looked outside, and I thought, I can just quit right now. I just call Edgar, put in my 2 weeks notice, and I'll be done with this because I'm not going out there. And of course, that's how I feel every morning when I get up. I don't want to do anything.
As I'm writing emails, you fucking bitches. To the students, you fucking bitches. It's just a little snow, you fucking pansies.
Little snowflakes.
Yeah, I did send an email on Wednesday, I think, or Thursday to everybody like, "Hey, important update," and I'm sure everybody was like, "Oh, the class is gonna be canceled." Hey, it's gonna be cold. You better dress warm.
There you go.
To everybody's credit, though, everybody showed up for that class.
Awesome.
And while people were shivering and asking if there was any way we could get warm, nobody quit. Nobody walked away. Nobody parked their butt in their car and wouldn't come back out. Everybody stuck around, shot through every single drill, and worked very hard. And one of the students, every time I talked to her, her face was just, and I'm like, I'm trying to keep a straight face while I'm talking to her, but I'm like, geez, man, are you gonna die out here? You look terrible. And she stuck it out, and she's out there shooting a little 38 air weight with one hand. And and because she's practicing drawing from her purse, and she, I don't want her to drop her purse in the mud, and so we're just working some one-handed shooting on this gun, and man, that's a punishing little gun there to be practicing with for a few hours, and she just stuck right with it. And she was excited at the end of the class. She was like, "Man, I'm so happy. This was so much fun." I'm like, "You might want to ice that wrist of yours."
Now, it's interesting, Isaac. I have to say this honestly. You guys make the environment welcoming, right? And
even Edgar?
No, totally. Like, it's like just driving up to the space, driving up to it all. It's just welcoming.
Yeah.
You feel like
I got to credit Isaac's parents for that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
His folks are great. His folks are great.
Yeah,
I love them.
Amazing people. So was that a level 2 carbine?
This was level 1 carbine and level 1 pistol.
Okay.
And
I gotta take that level 2.
I gotta point something out because speaking of being welcoming, you've been to the house. You know that there are animals everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a few. There's a large dog.
Yes.
Who is not very welcoming at all.
Hound.
That's a hound. Dude.
Yeah.
Huge.
But after the survival class training weekend, I figured something out that I didn't know before, which this dog is racist. He hates white people.
He hates white people.
He hates white. He hates white men. Now he may not like black men, but he hates white men.
What?
Because he did not give you guys half the hassle that he normally gives to white men who show up at the house. And so we know that he was an abused animal.
Okay. Okay.
So I think it was a white guy in a cowboy hat with boots on, because that's when he gets really wound up. Like, you better watch out if you got.
Damn.
If you're a white dude with a hat on, like, he's coming for you, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
So
he's a big dog, though.
He's a big dog, but he was relatively nice to you guys.
Yeah, no, he was actually really chill. Because even when we kind of got up to the house to eat, he was actually just super chill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was, I guess he was cool with Akil the whole time. Like, he didn't really give Akil a hard time either.
And he's light skinned too. Like, like, you got to look at him twice. And like, oh
yeah. So yeah, this so somebody needed to use the bathroom yesterday, and I had to go up and corral him into a room so he wouldn't kill this guy. Yeah. So, but my parents have. They own this land. My brother and I own some of it, but all the training happens on my parents' land, and they are very welcoming. You know, I told him, I was like, hey, a couple of the guys from the survival class are going to come down to shoot some photos. My dad's like, cool, you know, let them, you know, whatever they want. Yeah. And it's been really helpful to have that kind of environment, because even when they come down, you saw my mom come down to shoot some on Sunday morning after we got brutalized 2 days before. And, you know, she's just happy to have people there. She's happy to share the space and share her time. And, you know, we asked them to cook for the class, and they were happy to help cook. And so that's a huge part of it. So
it does make it easier, and it's crazy. Like, they work their ass off for that spot. Most people are being like, "Nah, it's just mine. Like, I worked hard for this, and like, I worked hard for it. But if I can't enjoy it with everybody, then what's the fucking point?"
Yeah,
like it's bonkers. Yeah.
So,
I wish Isaac was like that.
If you're nice to me, maybe I'll invite you to my birthday.
I know,
right? Yeah. So, but it's great to have a space like that. I was telling one of the students yesterday, I was like, I wish this place was closer to the Denver area. But at the same time, we're so lucky to have a place like this at all. Yeah. You know, to be able to use and enjoy. I have fun every time I'm out there.
It's always worth the drive. I think most people that bitch about it, you bitch about it the drive there, and then you're like, once you're done, you're like, oh, that was worth it. It was worth the drive. Because sometimes you go to spots that are closer, and it's just like, man, that was shitty. It was way too many people there that I don't know. It was.
I like chaotic. The exclusivity of it.
Yeah.
And then it's off in the cut, you know, because when you're driving up, you're like, damn. And then when you get up to it, you're like, yo, this shit got like 8 different terrains. Like, this is crazy, you know. And that's what really attracted me to want to do the attic shoot there, because really what it is with the attic shoot that we want to do is we have people from different walks. We have a guy from Colorado Springs. His name is Jay. I think he's Italian, or I don't know, but we have a young Korean guy, a couple ladies, and it's kind of a Walking Dead theme. No zombies or anything like that, but it's different people surviving together. And when they come upon each other, it might look intense, but the next thing you see is them working together as a group, right? So I think that's kind of where I want to go with Attucks, right? And it's just a dope spot.
I don't even know if you got to see all of it when we were doing the land navigation. I don't know how far downhill you got to go, but there are some places down there that are very interesting. All the way at the bottom where the water runs through, there's some very tall riverbanks, you know, going 15 feet up and almost straight up. And so it's a cool spot, and so I'm excited to see what you guys do with it out there. I will tell you, it's it's going to be muddy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm hoping, because here's the thing: if it's a survival situation, I want my talent to. Because I told him, I was like, yo, it's a survival situation, and not everybody's gonna be packing heat. Some of y'all gonna have sticks and machetes and bows, right? But it's a certain look and feel that I want to have, and the videographer is, bro, he's phenomenal, bro. Like, I'm like, all right,
Jason Martin.
Put something real dope together.
Well, put his name out there. What's his name?
His name is Jason. Jason Martin.
Yep, Jason Martin.
Yeah. I'll put his link up, but he's amazing, man. So he's done music videos and he produces music and stuff like that. And he's a young guy, so he's got a real fresh kind of take on everything. So want to do some still photos too. It's gonna be fun, man.
Is he out of Colorado?
He is out of Colorado.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing we're trying to do too is that if you're a quality startup, right, and you're a brand new spot, we want to just partner ourselves with folks who are just trying to start out too, right?
Yeah.
But who actually are putting together something of quality, right? And so that's the deal with Jason, right? He's been around for a couple of years doing it, right? And we just want to partner with people who are really trying to push forward, right? Just trying to push the envelope. And if we can brand ourselves with other people at the same time too, push your product, push our product, and just work as a whole, I mean, that's just a win-win for everybody. And so seeing that young man even just reaching out to us and saying, hey, I actually love y'all stuff.
Yeah.
That's literally where the conversation kind of came from too, was him reaching out and saying, this stuff is great.
Yeah.
And once we researched him, we was like, oh, okay, that's what you do.
Oh.
And so that's what we're always looking for. We're looking for opportunities to partner with other people who are brand new, and we can help each other at the same time. And so since we're a new brand, and he's pretty much a new company too, we want to put two great things together to have one great thing. And so when somebody asks, we can say, oh, yeah, this is the guy who did it, and these are the products that came together to make it happen.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of his company off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
It's just Jason Martin.
Yeah, it's
Productions.
just Jason Martin Productions. Yeah.
Oh, Productions.
Now that I think about it. Yeah.
All right.
And it's not spelled JASON. It's J Son.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, JSON.
Oh, there we go. I found this dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just a little bit more about the Armory, right? And so that, like with the 1770 Armory, we're not just a virtual range, right?
Yeah.
We're actually an educational school too. And so we also do classes for pistol 1, 2, and 3, AR 1, 2, and 3, shotgun level 1 through 3. We do CCW classes. We do home defense classes. We have a huge gamut of classes that we choose to do. And so part of the process of us creating an everyday environment, not just a range, but an actual school, was that it's something that we love to do. And so we wanted to create a space where people could just come every day.
Yeah.
If you wanted to learn something, you could just learn something. Like tomorrow morning, he's teaching a class on intro to pistols at 10 a.m. And so we wanted to just have a space that was just an educational-based space, not necessarily just a shooting space either, right? So if you wanted to learn something different, you can. One of the other things that we're doing with the space, too, is that every second Tuesday of the month, we call it Second Amendment Tuesdays. And so we're going to have a meeting every second Tuesday and have a guest speaker come in just to talk about the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Talk about your rights as a normal person. Edgar's going to be a
Get you
guest
up in
speaker.
there,
He just
Edgar.
don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But he's going to be one of the speakers too. One of the first speakers we're going to have is actually a DPD officer.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have him come in and really explain to us as citizens, what does a traffic stop really look like?
Correct.
How is that really supposed to go? I don't want to know your rights as a police officer. I want you to teach us our rights as a civilian.
Correct.
What am I supposed to be doing in that moment? What is it really supposed to look like to me?
Yeah.
I want to know if the cop that I'm interacting with is actually improper in their actions.
Yeah.
And so what I'm noticing in a lot of things is that the rules change all the time, right?
Correct.
And so what I want to do is, what Second Amendment and our team wants to do, is create a open conversation about everything, right? So if you say this is what a traffic stop looks like, then this is what all traffic stops should look like.
Yeah.
Right.
And so those are the places we want to get into. I want to get into a space with the Second Amendment where we as citizens know our rights.
Yeah.
We're always getting force-fed things, whether they're right or wrong. I want us to know exactly how to defend ourselves in those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is that cop thing?
So he's actually going to be our first guest speaker. So that'll be the first second Tuesday in November. And then we'll have that meeting at 6 p.m. And so from 6 to 7.
Wait. The first, second Tuesday? What
Yeah,
the fuck is that?
I mean, it's like,
I wasn't going to say anything, but
Thank you. I think that sounded crazy, right? So November, it's the second Tuesday, right? Of the month. Thank you. But in my brain, I was like, it's the first second Tuesday, right? So it sounded correct to me, right? So literally, it's the second Tuesday of every month, right?
Yeah.
So thank you. That was good, Edgar.
is there a sign up for that, or is it just kind of open seating?
No,
or?
It's open.
That's
Okay,
open,
so
right?
Yeah.
so that would be at 1770 Armory at 6 o'clock on Tuesday the 10th.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so every second Tuesday we're going to have those meetings and have just people come in, and then that day is just an open environment, right? However many people want to come in and hear and just listen to the conversation, that's what we want to have.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we want to do, I've already seen you saw the post with the cop in it, right? We also want 1770 Armory to be a bridging space.
Mm-hmm.
We also understand that there isn't a lot of spaces that different communities and different things can come together and have a real conversation.
Yeah, and interact.
And so we want that space to be that, right? So if we are having an issue in the community with, say, law enforcement or anybody like that, okay, our space is open for that.
Our space is Switzerland. You know what I mean? Like, we got grievances and
Oh, you got all the money.
yeah. Well,
No, not all the money, but we got the space.
Yeah. We definitely got the space.
We were actually talking about Switzerland last episode. This is exciting, and this is some good stuff that we're seeing. I would love to sit in on that class on the 10th. Unfortunately, the 10th is one of my kids' birthday.
Happy birthday.
Birthdays. So I'll have to catch the next one.
Cancel it.
I would. I would.
It's like you're gonna have another one next year. Like,
Oh my God! I got to tell you, last night I had a dream that my wife told me she was pregnant, and I was like, I woke up
in a sweat.
I woke.
You didn't drink a fish, did you?
No, I did the math as soon as I woke up. I was like, 18 more years.
That's funny, right there. No, that totally works. And then here's what I will do for everybody who's listening too, right? So our email is called gunclub@1770armory.com. If anybody's listening, if you go ahead and just send an email to that email address saying that you want to come through, get a tour, you want to see what the facility looks like, just shoot an email to that address. We'll reply back to you and schedule some time for people to come in. Because I do want people to know what it's like and see what it's like. Because it's interesting. We had two clients who came in today, and then the very first thing he said is, well, what about this recoil? I said, let's shoot first.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out the recoil.
Correct.
And so he's like, well, I'm going to hit
It's
bullseye.
crazy how people get so caught up in recoil. It's
Yes.
Well, and I get it. I've switched the way I've been talking about recoil because I'm on. I took a class, and this is the first class that I've taken in a while. And one of the things that I learned there is how, like, it's not even the information that I received, but it's just like, okay, how can I present information differently?
Right.
Because now I've been doing this shit for 10 years, and this is the first class that I've taken since becoming an instructor. So all the classes I took before was prior to me being an instructor. I was a student.
Right.
Now I go in there as an instructor taking a class. I'm like, okay, like we're saying this. I know what the fuck you're going to say.
Right.
Like I know it. But it's just, for me, it was just more of a, like, I need to present information differently to my students. So now I don't even, like, when we talk about recoil, like, before it was just like, oh, recoil, and this is how you manage it. And shit. But not like, no, but people just need to think about recoil differently. Like, it's no different than using a hammer.
Yes.
Like, it's you've used a fucking hammer before. You hammer a fucking nail, and if you fucking feel it, sometimes it hurts, and if it hurts, you readjust it, and you fix it.
There you go.
So when it comes to recoil, it's just like, you'll figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, but yeah, it is crazy how many people, because I talk about, Mantis sent us their tool, and
Great software.
That's one of the things that people ask is just like, oh, so there's no recoil. I was like, no, fucker, it's just dry fire.
Yeah, no, there's nothing for you to hide behind.
right, absolutely.
Now, you know what's funny about that, right? Is that the two guys that came in today, and he said, well, if there's no recoil, I'm gonna just kill this every time. I said, okay, here you go, shoot.
Yeah,
all over the board.
Yeah,
and I said, so where's recoil?
Where's recoil?
He's like, I said, recoil is not a matter in this situation.
Recoil happens after you pull the trigger.
That's what I told him, right? I said, so the reality is, your pistol, your hand grip sucks ass.
Your fundamentals is whack.
Right.
Yeah.
So all
Come
of those
see
things,
me.
yeah. So he was like, no, that's not true. I said, okay, give it to me.
Yeah.
I took it, hit 5 shots right in the middle, right? And he was like, well, that's because you hear all the time. I'm like, no.
Practicing.
Because I practice,
yeah,
right.
Stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he got to understand it.
Edgar's customer service skills.
Oh, man, I suck at that. No, that's exactly what the fuck I would have told him, too. Is you fucking suck, stupid. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, no, and then when I corrected his actual hand grip, right? And I was like, yo, slow down.
Yeah.
I'm going to change your grip and just focus.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, my God, I'm hitting. I said, yeah. I'm like, you sucked before.
Yeah.
Like, but now you don't because you're actually listening, right?
Correct.
So
and you owe me
really
$100.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really interesting because we always get that first conversation. But what about recoil? And I was like, the bullet's already gone. So
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Hey, can you give me that email address again?
Yeah. The email address is gunclub@1770armory.com.
When you coming through, Edgar?
Shit, what am I doing tomorrow? What time is your class?
Mine is at 10. We open from 10 to 7. So
You gonna be there?
yeah.
Yeah, he teaching the class.
Yeah. How long is your class?
2-hour class.
About 2-hour class.
Yeah, it's 2-hour class.
But yeah, after that, bro, we can get it
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
Because the simulator, the smokeless range just has this.
So I'll be there tomorrow, and I'll
Okay.
kind of give everybody a IG tour and
Cool.
Okay.
and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
bro.
think I have anything going on tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, if you come around 12, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, tomorrow would be good. I won't interrupt your class because
Yeah.
I'll go in there like, fuck all you guys. You guys all fucking suck.
I'm like, that's Edgar, everybody.
Very competent, talented dude.
Yes, he is.
He's our new PR guy.
Right. So whenever I got to get somebody, I'm like, hey, I'm going to call Edgar. Edgar's going to call you today.
I think a lot of people are surprised. Like they expect, because you say intelligent, fucking super duper intelligent, but according to myself, anyways, I think I do throw people off. Just how much I just treat you like an adult. Like it's just
Right.
like I talk to you like an adult.
Right.
I had somebody knock at the fucking door. It wasn't even my class. We rent a space. We let other instructors use our space up in Thornton.
Yeah.
So he was about to do a class, and I was kind of just helping him out, set up website shit, and people started knocking. So I go up there, and the guy's asking me, like, you gonna let him in? I was like, no, it's not time for your class, dude.
Right.
I'll let them in when I say it's time for your class. So I go over there, and I fucking knock back. Fuck you want?
That's awesome.
Like, your fucking class starts at 6:30, and it's 6 o'clock. Dude, you got 30 minutes.
Eat a snack.
That's awesome. I love it. I totally love it.
I couldn't be more different too.
Listen.
I had the couple show up to my concealed carry classes over an hour early. And I'm just like, now we got to make an hour's worth of small talk.
And Isaac will talk, dude, the whole hour.
That's just me being uncomfortable,
Correct.
man.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And me, I'm like, well, what are you going to do for an hour? You better go have some breakfast or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious.
Go to your car and watch a Netflix show.
Yeah. That sounds like me and him too, right? I'd be like, dude, fuck, why? So,
That's part of the reasons why we had to get rid of the retail store. One of the reasons, because my customer service is just like, people will be like, oh, you weren't open, you said you were going to, well, fucking damn right, because I didn't want to be open. Like, fuck's your problem? But your shit said you were gonna be open. Like, I get it, but fuck, like, don't give a fuck. I decided I needed a day off.
No, it's totally good. That's why I'm glad we got a team, right? So, because if one is tired, then one of us can just come in and take that change. So
be like, whatever, you little butterfly. Lay in your bed or whatever.
Tisha said in the comments, Edgar hand him a map of all the places they can go.
No, that's good stuff.
Oh man,
that's totally good stuff. But yeah, Edgar, you definitely have to come down. I think you'll enjoy it. And like I say, we have two different sides of the range. We have the laser side, which is your proficiency side, which you can basic marksmanship, draw for conceal, holster, all of those different things. And then, like he was saying, the smokeless range is where you just get to have fun, right?
Correct.
And so when you're on the laser side, that's just you practicing your precision, right? You actually hitting shots like you want to. You come to the smokeless range, all that shit moves.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of throws you off, right? Because you're feeling good over here, like, oh, okay, cool. I'm hitting everything I need to hit.
Yeah.
And then we take you to the other side and show you that, when it's standing still, it's easy to hit. But when it starts moving,
correct,
mechanics change, thought process change, how you move change, and things like that. So the smokeless range is actually a great alternative on the back end of that to show people to a certain degree that they're not as ready as they think they are.
Correct.
And that's the cool kill set of those two things.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When people get kind of comfortable on that first range and then you move them to the second range where things are moving around and they have a more dynamic shooting situation, in general, would you say that they get flustered, nervous, overwhelmed by that initially?
All three.
And this is virtual. This isn't even,
Yeah, it's crazy, and people think that they'll take one class and they'll be proficient at shooting, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, people go train with martial arts instructors for half their lifetime, and you want to come in here for 2 hours, a 2-hour course, 4-hour course, and all of a sudden now you're expecting to be proficient. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a lifestyle. You have to constantly practice, and people don't understand until, they're seeing, gunfighters and guys like us that are just boom, 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 and then they're all over the place, and it's just like, because we've put in the time, we put in the trigger time, we put in the work. So it's hilarious because they're like, they get frustrated. I'd be sitting there cracking up laughing, and then, they get into this competition thing with the person they brought, or even with, one of the instructors. And it's like, oh, okay, well, let's go. Like the police officer that came, and he actually just came to kind of check it out, which was
how did he hear about you guys?
I don't know, man. Denver Right. Like, we get all kind of people coming in that's, read about you in Denver Right, or people that live in the neighborhood, and they're like, something weird going on over here. I'm just going to mosey on over here and see what it is, right?
Yeah.
So he came through.
I like that you did that voice because you guys are in a gentrified area now.
I hope this doesn't make me sound as bad as I think it does, but it cracks me up. It cracks me up when black dudes do white guy voices. Because it's so on point, and it's just like, I used to work in a youth home. I used to work in a halfway house for kids, and this was up in northern Colorado. So we had all kinds of kids in there, but we had this kid in there. He was from 5 Points, and actually he was from Park Hill. And gangbanger, little BG. He was a blood. And dude, when he would do his white guy voice, I don't care how mad I was at anybody in that house, I would start laughing when he did it.
Oh, that's
it is really hilarious.
It's funny. So he came through and was just kind of really amazed. And one of the comments was like, yeah, y'all got some better training shit than we have. And I was like, I hope not.
No, you do.
I'm hoping that you, Mr. Officer, have all the tools at your disposal to make sure that anytime you discharge your firearm, it's hitting its target.
Yeah. Yo, and I want to talk about that shit.
Yeah.
So we're doing the Guns for Everyone National, and we haven't talked about this or anything, but I do. I know the NRA has a law enforcement side of it, and I don't know what the fuck they do with it. But that is one area where it is heavily lacking. Like, there's really no private training that does real life type shit. So you're talking about having a cop come over.
Yes.
How amazing would it be to have cop training with the black community, with Mexicans and stuff like that? Because I see the videos a lot. Like, this civil rights activist, he went on a shoot, no shoot, and he shot the guy. I was like, well, that's what tells you what a dude with lack of training does, and a cop with no training does.
Right.
Like, it doesn't prove that they both shot him. It just proves that lack of training will ultimately lead in you fucking shooting someone.
Like, the one thing that's super interesting is that just literally last week, Anubis actually trained a Denver cadet.
Yeah.
What amazed me about that moment was when her and I were talking, I was like, so when did you graduate?
Yeah.
She's like, 1.5 years ago. I said, oh, okay, so what have you been doing since?
Yeah.
Taking on our jobs. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing now? Oh, well, they called me back to start, but I got to pass the shooting test. I was like, so you've been out of the academy for 1.5 years. They've not talked to you the entire time. Now they have a slot. Now they just want you to come start.
Yeah.
It absolutely made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And then when she came in to train with us to pass her test, I was amazed. I was like, wow, I said, they don't teach you this? And so, not to be funny, he did an excellent job. So she could pass her test, but to know that she had went through an academy.
Yeah.
It had been almost 1.5 years.
Yeah.
No police department had ever contacted her or anything like that. Say, hey, you graduated. We'll call you when we got a spot.
Correct.
And then the only thing that she had to do to get her job was to take a shooting test.
Correct. Yeah. A basic bullshit 50 shots.
Test, yeah. And it wasn't in
Edgar. Your training. Isaac's training. Like, I've been through the courses that you guys do. Why is this not standard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind.
Correct.
You know, and the fact that, you know, the officer, we were doing a speed drill.
Yeah.
It's simply draw, aim, fire in the fastest time that you can.
Yeah.
Right? And I beat him like most of the time.
Correct.
And he was like, God, you're fucking fast. And I'm like,
no, you're fucking slow.
oh my God. Super cool guy though. You know, not taking anything away from amazing, super cool guy. The type of police officer that, if God forbid I did have to encounter, it'd be a gentleman of that caliber. Yeah. Very professional, super cool. You know, culturally aware. But yeah, I was just kind of like, interesting.
Yeah, and so I want us to be a space where we can help that, right? And so when the cadet left, she was like, I'm going to tell all of my cadets about you guys because when we graduate, we don't know what to do after that.
Correct.
And so...
And a lot of people think that they have all the shit ton of training and they know how to use their gun. It's just like, no, like these people, I'm surprised because we have seen some videos and Isaac has shared, I think 1 or 2 on the podcast maybe. And where it's just like the cop actually hit what the fuck they were shooting at.
There was one out of L.A. A few weeks ago. It was featured on Active Self-Protection. This LAPD officer did a phenomenal job of not only hitting the bad guy with every single shot, but also in a crowded environment where there was people everywhere, managed to get into position to take a shot where no one was behind the target.
Oh, shit.
But she's a competition shooter. She's not just a cop. She's like she's an Instagram hero. She shoots competition all the time. And, you know, so... And not only that, but she managed the scene before and after the shooting like something out of a movie, you know, and it was really phenomenal to see that kind of competence from anybody. I don't care if you're a cop or not. I just love seeing people who know what they're doing.
Right.
You know, but that kind of all-around skill set is, I would say, pretty rare.
I'm not at the computer, so I can't put the comments on the lower thirds like I typically do, but good old homie Bentley 4700, 40,700. Says my brother-in-law is a cop. He doesn't practice because he doesn't like to clean his gun.
Wow. But no, Edgar, the crazy part is, you know how true that statement really is?
Yeah.
Wow. From people who...
A lot of people
say that. Like, oh, I don't want to shoot because I don't want to clean my gun. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You want to take that bad boy apart and know how it works.
Just get a high point and then you got to worry about that shit.
No. Not going to tell you about my high point story.
No?
No.
I got nothing but positive high point stories. I like high point.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Not me.
No?
No.
Yeah, his high point story.
Hey, we need to hear the negative high point story because in actuality,
They're very
all
rare.
we ever hear are positive high point stories.
Yeah.
No,
So we
like-
gotta balance this
Listen,
out.
Balance this shit out.
I had this paperweight, right? That was a paperweight.
You take that shit back. Cut his mic off.
So this is like early on, right? I was just like, all right, cool. I'm at the gun show, Tanner gun show one day, and I was like, I just see it, and I was like, $200. All right, cool. How about that?
Oh, that's why you got the $200 one. The $150 one would have worked.
So
You
I
paid
get
too
it.
much.
You got robbed.
First thing I do, I show him. He's like, "Fuck is that?" I was like, "It's a high point, bro." He's like, "Why the fuck did you buy that?" I don't even understand. I was like, "Bro,
Wasn't it a
it's
40
200
count too?
Yeah, no, that was a 9.
It was a 9?
That was a 9. I was like-
Oh, you're
I
about
said,
to go
dude,
even deeper.
Yeah, I
with
was
it.
like, dude, it was $200
God.
bucks. It's great. Like,
Yeah.
it's good, right? Then we go to the range. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't hit the side of a barn with that fucking
Yeah.
thing, right? Then
It was
I
your
said-
grip, dude.
That was funny, right? 'Cause I thought so too, right? That's what I thought too. So I take his firearm and I'm like, I'm dead on, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And then they had another gentleman who's by the name of John. I get his, I'm dead on. And they were like, then they both was like, all right, fuck it. We're going to shoot this shit too. And they started shooting. They was like, dude, you need to get rid of this and throw this away as fast as humanly
Bro, it
possible.
would jam after every 2 rounds.
Yeah. That was an ammo issue.
No, we changed the ammo.
It was your grip.
Every
You're lip
variable,
wristing it.
Bro. Every 2 rounds.
That's your problem. You're Glock wristing a high point, dude.
Oh no, it was horrible. It just was not the business. I went right back to Tanner Gun Show and I was like, hey, who can I sell this to?
Yeah. You still got it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I spent $200 for it and got $190 back. for it.
190 back, yeah.
So I was okay
That's the
with that.
beauty of the high point. You could get the same amount of money back. Like it's just you're not gonna
Yeah,
lose
it
money off
doesn't
of it.
appreciate or
Or
depreciate.
depreciate.
But it's good at throwing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that thing was clunky and heavy as hell. So
Can you even find holsters for high point?
Yeah, hell yeah, you can.
Yeah, they're nylon holsters at $10.
Nylon holsters, hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Pocket holsters, dude.
no.
That is
But now
hilarious.
I'm a Springfield dude. I love my XD. So
Oh, you went worse. You went backwards.
I love it. I'm an XD dude. I love my XD.
Yeah.
We have
that's
this
funny.
conversation all
Yeah.
the time because he's a Glock dude.
That's a stolen design, dude.
It works though.
Yeah.
It works though.
It's a nice
Yeah,
gun.
yeah. So I'm an XD guy. I have been, and then we talk about it because I like the weight.
Yeah.
So it has a little bit heavier weight than
Yeah,
the
it
Glock
does.
does, and
Yeah.
so that's what my love is.
I got a friend who has he's usually on the comments, but he's not on the comments. He runs a newspaper, local newspaper, Spanish newspaper. He brought a gun to me one time and he's like, hey, do you know what the fuck this gun is? I was like, yeah, that's a Springfield. That's an XD. He's like, no, man, look at it. He's like, and it said H2000. I was like, what the fuck?
Fuck, you're right.
He's like, yeah, like, check this shit out. It was before Springfield bought the design from the checks.
Oh, really?
So he's got the original one.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is before Springfield's like, yeah, fuck it. We're tired of importing it. We're just
Right.
going to buy the design from you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to
Pretty
show me
amazing.
that one. You got to show me that one.
Yeah,
I want to see
yeah.
that. I still love CZs. They shoot extremely
Yeah.
well. CZs shoot great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had a student yesterday who her boyfriend's been working with her. You know, we have
Fam?
Fam's girlfriend, and we have a a slide we use in a lot of our presentations. It's a picture of Bubba teaching Bubba Ed how to shoot, and it's a horrible picture. And boyfriend does not equal firearms instructor. But I got to give a shout out to Fam. I hope he's still listening, because the work that he had put in teaching his girlfriend, she was nailing it. I mean, she was doing fantastic.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see. And she wasn't fast, but she was like deliberate and just, accurate and just making every move correctly. And, I was like, what, you picked this up quick. She goes, well, I've been practicing with Fam. And I was like, geez, man, you guys I can't be more proud of you guys right now, And I bring that up because she was shooting a CZ. Man, she was just.
Oh, she's got a CZ now?
Yeah. Did you sell her something else?
We've sold them a lot of guns. Just interested in the CZ mode.
Yeah. So anyway, it was one of those rare moments where some in-home instruction actually worked.
Yeah.
So my question for you two guys is, what is your brand of choice, or what do you like the most?
I'm lazy. So that means I shoot Glocks.
Yeah, no. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, you got a Glock. I already know that. As soon as you said that.
Glock is kind of my number one, mostly because I like the angle. So I've tried other guns. I've done the Smith & Wesson M&Ps, and it pointed out I have to camp the gun too much.
Yeah.
So I end up rotating my wrist too much in order to get it to go flat.
Okay.
So the Glock is just naturally just level for me.
Ergonomic.
Yeah, it's just there for me. And one of the kicks that I'm kind of on right now is the SIGs.
Nice.
After they fucked up all their first guns and they came out with the better guns. The P320, the X Compact, that's a really nice one. And then I don't carry it. And then the 365 is a really nice one. That's the one that my wife is currently carrying. But I'm interested in carrying the XL. But yeah, right now I got the Glock 48.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a Glock dude, so yeah.
I mean, I started off with Glocks, but I'm getting into some other things.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this Canic Elite.
Those are nice.
Those are nice. I
and
like
it was,
those. Yeah.
I just kind of fell in love with it. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like,
man, those are like the Hyundais of guns.
Yeah.
Because everybody looks at it like, oh, that's fucking cheap ass shit. Like, yeah, but motherfucker's nice. Like the new Hyundais, the fucking luxury ones.
the
like,
Genesis?
oh my god.
Yeah.
You look at him and like, well, it's still a Hyundai. I was like, yeah, but do you see this motherfucker?
Yeah,
Like,
they put every bell and whistle in that. Motherfucker.
Yo, what's funny about that is that we have a friend who has one, right? And we went
the Canic or the Genesis?
No, the Canic.
Yeah.
We got the Genesis. So, and we had got there, and I saw it, and I was like, my first thing in my head, I can't lie, I was like, yo, what is that bullshit?
Yeah.
Right? That was the first thing I said to myself, right? And then I seen him shoot, and I was like, hold up. You're kind of accurate
nice,
over
man.
there, right?
And then he shot it.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, dude, this trigger is fucking
crazy.
sweet.
Yes.
Crazy.
I love that trigger.
Yeah.
And so that's actually one of my next purchases because that trigger just goes. And I'm like a 4-pound trigger type of dude.
Yeah.
So I like my triggers a little bit lighter than everybody else. He knows that part too. That's why my Ruger AR has a 3.5-pound trigger on it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. I love it.
I actually don't have a lot of different handguns kind of invested in one direction, but I have been shooting that Bursa BP9cc. I like that thing. I'm trying
really nice.
I'm really trying to get really much better with my revolver, and that's hard work.
Okay. Yeah, just throw that away.
Like that's like if you
I'm messing with you. No, go
like
ahead.
that's humbling, because you can
yeah.
work a long time on a revolver and you don't see a lot of progress, and so. But I do carry it from time to time because it's a convenient gun to carry under certain circumstances, and I'm like, man, I need to be a lot better with this thing. And so I have a I have a SP101, a Ruger SP101,
Nice.
and a little Taurus 38 that I don't know. The Taurus is all right. It works well, but it's kind of embarrassing, to get caught carrying that thing around. So
yeah, bro. Although one of my students brought in a G3.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
And I was like, yo. And I was just kind of like, okay, Taurus, I see you on that.
Yeah, G2Cs and those are nice.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. I was hanging out at Shooting Doors maybe about a month and a half ago.
The new range?
Yeah.
How's that?
I
love it.
Fucking love it, dude.
Yeah.
It's really sweet.
Multiple bays or just one bay?
Multiple.
Yeah. The cool thing that they have is the camera system, right? And so right there when you're shooting, they have a tablet and a camera that sticks on the target. So instead of you always having to pull the target back and forth, like, oh shit, where the fuck did I shoot? The camera's right there.
Oh,
you see it exactly right there.
How much does it cost to shoot there?
It's like $18.
Yeah,
That
18,
is-
18 bucks for a lane.
Man,
and if you do it a month, it's
Magnum
$40.
Shooting Center, Colorado Springs is $25 an hour.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah,
And you got to pay for ammo?
and you got to pay for ammo.
See, so with shooting doors, if you're an individual membership, it's like $40 a month or whatever. But if you shoot as much as we do, it pays for itself right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've only gone up to their north, the Broomfield location.
Yeah.
So I
the
haven't
one-
been to that one yet.
Yeah, the Broomfield one is just one big fucking area with like 10 lanes or 11 lanes.
Yeah.
Really?
So one is split. One is technically the rifle range, and one is the pistol range.
Yeah.
But the one with the 25-yard one is the rifle one, and the 15-yard one is the pistol one. But so
Where are they at?
so they're right off of they're on Abilene between Mississippi and what?
Florida?
Alameda?
Florida?
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
On the frontage road, basically, on
Yeah,
225.
Yeah. So you know where Burlington Crow Factory is in the Echo
Yeah.
Tech College?
Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
next door to Echo
Yeah,
Tech
right
College.
next-
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like
We got to
right
give
there
them
where
a shout out. They do free firearm safety classes.
Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
yeah,
they
they
do.
do.
They do.
Yeah.
I like I said, I like everybody to shoot indoors. They're great people. We have reciprocity with them from 1770 Armory. So
Yeah.
our folks who train with us go over there and they can shoot and they just know it. So they're fairly new, but they're a great group of people.
Yeah.
I have nothing negative to say about
Yeah,
shooting
yeah,
indoors.
At all,
It's a
at
dope
all.
spot.
But yeah,
Well, their
Reverend-
ammo prices, they've always gouged on ammo.
Yeah.
So I'll say it. You guys ain't
They
gonna
got
say
dime
it.
bags now. homie. They got the dime bags.
Because even pre-COVID, and I don't think they've ever had an issue like admitting it, but even pre-COVID, they were
Yeah.
charging $25 a box for a 50
Yeah.
of 9.
Making a
Boy.
killing on ammo, homie.
So, I noticed a lot of Rangers was doing that anyway, right? No matter what range I went to.
Yeah, Bristlecone was 15.
Bristlecone was 15.
Bristlecone was
okay.
15.
Bro, when I worked for the shooters, they was about 15, but since I worked there,
Yeah.
$7.76 a box, homie.
A box?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
You got to go back.
It's burnt down.
No,
I know it is.
Yeah.
I'm being an ass. I'm like,
You
I
have
won't
to
box this for $7.
Sift through the rubble to find
I
some
know,
ammo.
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're building it back now. So
Yeah,
if you
they
drive by,
said
you see it.
January 2021. So
No, good for them.
The building's pretty much almost up and everything like that. So
Yeah.
they should be back up and running. Yeah, I like Blue Core also. I like Triple J also. So
yeah, Triple J's
Yeah.
amazing people at Triple J,
Yeah.
bro.
we shoot at both those spots.
Yeah. As soon as
So-
I walk in there, they're like, "Hey, where you been?"
Yeah, never been to a Blue Core. I don't know why. I just never been. I just recently went to Triple J. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I won't talk about where you used to work. I'll leave that. I'll leave that shit right there.
Hey, Edgar, where were you on the night of?
I'm not gonna. Yo, I text Isaac. I was like, "This is fucking bonkers." Every time some shit happens between me and somebody else, like something tragic happens to them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which-
like-
Which
got
means
that
that
juju,
I'm pretty much married to Edgar at this point.
I don't never want to get on Edgar's bad side ever.
Yo, and then I could go down the list, and there's just like fucking bonkers. Like it's weird as shit, man. And luckily, I was in D.C. though.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's my alibi.
Yeah,
I was in
exactly.
fucking D.C.
Richard in the chat room says that everyone at Triple J is over 7 feet tall. Is that true?
They tall as hell in there, but they ain't 7 feet tall.
Well, there's one man who's a Sasquatch, and he's the actual armorer, gunsmith. Super cool dude, gentle giant. I walked in there with I just wanted to get my sights changed on my Glock. And he was like, "What'd you do to it?" I was like, "I just want to get my sights changed." He was like, "Give me that thing." They didn't even charge me, bro. It was just like, and I wasn't even a member at the time.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that. The customer service when you go to certain places, you just have a certain like, okay, anytime. And I've sent people there, and they've always been taken care of.
Yeah.
Well, Isaac, you met the owner of Triple J.
Yeah, at one of our networking things.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I remember meeting somebody from Triple J, but you know me, man. I got to meet somebody like half a dozen times before. So when we do these advanced classes down on the ranch, usually every class, at least one person has been there before. And so every time, we meet at the rest stop ahead of time, and they pull up and they get out of the car. Every single person who pulls up is like a miniature panic attack for me because I know I'm about to walk into, like, there's a pretty good chance that I've met this person before and I'm not going to remember them at all,
Oh,
Especially as black guys. He gets them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you Sean or Anubis?
This is why
That's hilarious.
this is why I like Sean's beard because like I can't forget Sean's beard. That is
Absolutely.
it's majestic. It's like it's not just full, it's
Right.
distinguished.
Right.
So
Right,
yeah, and Richard Richard too, Richard Fletcher. Although I guess he's been clean shaven recently, I think he said, but his beard is always something that reminds me. Oh yeah, I'm talking to Richard.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, so I met Nate came to the class yesterday, Nate Geip, and I was like,
Yep.
Okay.
I remembered Nate mostly. So yeah, I'm terrible at it. It's not just like Edgar can attest to this, and I'm sure you guys can too. After you've done any kind of training or education for long enough, you start to realize that there's only a handful of different face types, and
Well, this
after
guy
a while,
just reminded me he's been in my class. I'm like, I don't.
He's like,
everybody.
Get out, here's your certificate.
Yeah. Everybody starts to look the same after a while, and then you start getting these moments of panic, like you start recognizing people, but you don't actually know them,
Right.
because you've just seen this face type so many times, so it's frustrating because I'm constantly in this state of like, have I met you before? I don't want to embarrass myself by saying I have, and I don't want to embarrass myself by saying I haven't. I've just had to learn how to embrace it. Like it's not you, it's me, for sure.
Yeah.
But even Fam's been to a bunch of classes, and I was like, "Hi, how are you? I'm Isaac." And he's like, "Yeah, I know who you are, dude."
He's like, you still know who I am. That's good.
How about
So-
when Hudson cut his hair? He was like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
dude.
this little dude."
Right.
I was like, "Wow, I don't remember this person signing up."
I keep calling him Dalton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it changes all the time, but yeah, because both of you guys came to that rifle class where Hudson was there, and then we did the survival class just a couple months later.
Yeah.
And that dude looked like not Hudson; he looked like Hanson.
Yeah, no, totally right. Totally right.
Bob Farrell. Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw the first time he had the long wavy hair.
Yeah.
I was like,
And then he
we saw
shows
him,
up
he had
all
the buzz
clean cut. I'm
Right.
like, who's
Like,
this
who you
guy?
hiding from? Who you hiding from?
Yeah. So Sean, we don't have to get into it very deeply. We're probably getting ready to wrap up here, but I noticed here in this article what you got arrested for or detained for was excessive magazine size.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you could tell us if this was under Colorado law or Denver law.
Okay, so I want to say Denver law, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this goes back to the whole conversation earlier where they still haven't told me to this day why they even stopped me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Protesting while black.
yeah, basically, that's exactly it, to tell you the truth, right? And the crazy part was that I was a marshal that day for the event, and they knew that. So that was the other interesting piece about the day was that we had actually interacted with them early in the day. They gave us our marshal badges. They knew exactly who we were and what we were going to do. And so basically what happened was when the stop happened, they asked me if I had a firearm on me, and I said, yes, I do. Obviously, I lifted my shirt up so they could see it. And they asked me if I had a concealed carry permit, and I said, yes, I do. So the funny part is that I passed every test that they asked me, right?
Except for the most important one.
So the interesting part is that the magazine thing never became an issue until they took me to the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
And when they didn't actually have a charge, they gave me a citation for the magazines. And so basically they said that because I had a magazine that could carry 17 rounds, I had a high-capacity magazine in my Glock.
Total bullshit.
But I only had 14 rounds in my magazine. And so I said to them, I said, well, I bought this years ago, and this came with it, so what the hell was I supposed to do?
Right.
And they were like, well, you still shouldn't have had this magazine. And I said, well, I bought it.
Yeah. That's not even against Denver law.
Correct. I said I bought it in Denver from a Denver gun store.
Right.
So maybe we should go to the gun store and have that conversation. But they were like, no, you're illegally carrying magazines. And I'm like, doesn't make sense to me. And like I said,
hey, we know an attorney.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's have that conversation.
Yep.
After this. So,
I mean, because the Denver assault weapons ban is a 20-round limit.
Yes.
And the Colorado ban is a 15-round limit.
No, the Denver one, they brought it down to 15.
Okay.
Okay.
And I still had under the amount of rounds allowed, right?
And even then, it's well, I got to look at it. I don't want to spread bullshit.
Yeah.
But my understanding is for rifles, it's not a handgun thing.
And see, so here's the interesting part, right? So if it's a rifle thing, the gentleman that got stopped with me,
Yeah.
he had
Allegedly.
allegedly, he had 3 AR magazines. with him. Allegedly, that were fully loaded.
Hypothetically.
Right? Yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, hypothetically.
And so,
But we're just like.
but they let him walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They let him walk away, but they took me
Correct.
and said that I was more of a danger than he was.
Than
So
he
it was a really interesting concept. And like I said, they still to this day haven't explained to us why I was even stopped.
Yeah.
One of the stories was we stopped your friend, and subsequently you got searched because we stopped him.
So that's going to be interesting. So one of the things that you have to look at is, no, they can't. Like you were the passenger.
No, we were walking down the street.
Oh, you guys were walking.
We were walking.
So, what was the reasonable suspicion?
So the first lie was they said somebody called the police because 2 black men were harassing people
And brandishing.
and brandishing weapons. Right?
Did you guys get frisked?
Soon as they pulled up, they just swarmed us. And so that's what I mean. Like, literally, when we were walking,
Yeah.
2 SWAT vehicles came from different directions
Uh-huh.
and just swarmed us. So it wasn't even we never even had the opportunity to say anything, really. It was like by the time they was jumping off their trucks, they were already grabbing me, putting my arms in the air and the whole 9 before I was even asked the question. So the whole incident was interesting. And then even when I was there, I kept asking them, who's the officer in charge?
Correct.
They never told me. And I just kept asking, who is the officer in charge?
Correct.
And they were like, we don't have to tell you that.
Oh,
I'm like, that's the law. Who's the officer in charge? So the other frustration thing was that no officer wanted to claim to be in charge.
yeah.
And so it's still been it's been a very interesting process. I got to go to virtual court on November 2nd to get my weapon
Not
back.
night court, virtual court.
Virtual court.
That's funny because they don't put you in virtual jail after that.
Right. So it really was an interesting situation. But if you guys do know somebody that I can have that conversation with, I would totally love to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because they've been backpedaling the entire time. At one point, the first story was that they said they stopped me because that day white supremacy was at a heightened level.
the fuck
And,
that got to
and
do
they
with
thought
you?
people were attacking Tate Anderson. And I was like, okay, so you said white supremacy was at an all-time high that day, and they were attacking Tate Anderson. So I'm black.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Correct.
How did I fall into that category?
Well, see, the cops are colorblind, so that's
Yeah. Here's what the law says. This is straight from the Denver Municipal Code, so I'm not reading it from anything else except from there. Assault weapon shall include all firearms with any of the following. So all firearms with any of the following characteristic: all semi-automatic action, centerfire rifles That's centerfire rifles with detachable magazine capacity of more than 15 rounds. So it doesn't matter how many you had in there, but again, you had a pistol, not a rifle. All semi-automatic shotguns with a folding stock or magazine capacity of more than 6 rounds or both. C is reserved. D, any firearm which has been modified to be operable as an assault weapon as defined herein. Any part of the combination of the part designed intended to convert firearm into assault weapon, including a detachable magazine with the capacity of more than 15 rounds, or any combination of the parts of which the assault weapon has been readily assembled, if those parts are in the possession or under control of the same person. Bump stock. Magazine shall mean a box, drum, or other. But again, a pistol shall mean a weapon originally designed and intended. So there's nothing in here that says anything about pistols. It only says rifle.
Correct.
That's straight from their city ordinance. So they really can't get you off of any of them.
Yeah, the sheriff's department told me it was bullshit from go.
All weapons that do not use fixed cartridges, all weapons, which weighs capacity more than 15 rounds of yeah. I mean...
So was it just a 15-round magazine?
No, he had a 17-round magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a
all
Glock
right.
17.
It was a Glock
Glock
17.
17.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
so
fuck 'em.
again,
Yeah, they
to
only have 15
reiterate,
rounds,
it says all semi-automatic action centerfire rifles with a detachable magazine with the capacity of more than 15 rounds. They can suck a dick. Terry versus Ohio always covers not the search. So Terry versus Ohio does not. I'm just answering David. Yeah. Terry versus Ohio does not cover a search. It covers a frisk.
Right.
They could
Terry
be
stop.
frisked. Yeah, Terry stop. Exactly.
Yeah.
You could be frisked for a Terry stop, but you cannot be searched for a Terry stop.
And I was searched.
Yeah,
Yes.
you cannot be searched for a Terry stop. Only frisked. Once they figured out the investigation, I believe the Terry stops include this. Once they conclude their investigation, I'm not a fucking white supremacist trying to fucking beat the shit out of this other black dude.
Right. Have a nice
You
day.
guys go about your fucking business because you've concluded your fucking investigation.
That's right.
No further conversation
right.
needs to be had. And I think Terry versus Ohio covers that. I think Jones versus Texas or Dallas also covers that as well. But yeah, in your situation, we got attorneys.
Yeah, let's work that out. Yeah, let's work that out. Because to this day, I do have some political people involved who tried to get the answers too.
Yeah.
And then at one point, the DEA said, we're just not going to talk about Sean's case.
No, we're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. Right.
No, we're going to talk about it.
Because they know they were in the wrong at that moment.
Yeah.
And they can't prove any otherwise. It was just a weird day. So, yes, let's have that conversation. So that goes back to earlier when we were saying that we might be in the moment, but at the same time, the moment is kind of intense.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm going to wrap this up a little bit here, but I want to point out on your outerwear, on your Attucks,
Yes, sir.
you need some more outerwear.
Yes.
Because I'm an outerwear kind of slut. So
yes, absolutely.
I want to see some outerwear, and I love the logo. I don't know if I could pull it off though. I don't know if I can pull off the Harlem.
You can pull it off.
Oh, okay. So all right. Let's wrap this up with one final question for you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
You guys know Will Moses?
Yes.
Okay, so he gave me a shirt from Black American Outdoorsman,
Okay.
like one of those jerseys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Can I wear that?
So he's trying to get a pass from us.
I'm trying to get a pass, man.
Yes, wear it. It was a gift.
All right.
Give it to you.
It's
Yeah.
not
Okay.
appropriation. I've seen a ton of white kids wearing FUBU when I was coming up. It's okay.
Like, it's funny. As soon as you said it, I was thinking in my head, I'm about to send you the Hell of Hard Body shirt right now.
There you go. There you go.
Because I'm like, dude, I love this. You know, I would love to shoot in this jersey. You know, but I'm like, I felt weird. I actually was thinking about wearing it to the survival class, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't want to bring any extra weight that I'm not going to be able to wear.
No, use it as a conversational piece, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that way they know that, not to be funny, people who look different from each other actually still do communicate with each other in this community, right?
Yeah.
And I
I'd
think
be like,
that's
I actually know a black guy, and he gave me this jersey.
So I'm good, right? So like, I think this is what makes this podcast great too, right? Like we're all different, right? But it just shows that it doesn't matter what we look like, what nationality, what culture, whatever we come from. But if we all have like minds and just have a great conversation, it just works really well.
Yeah.
So, so trust
And
me.
I'm not joking. That's a genuine question. Like,
No, I appreciate
it's
it.
funny and everything, but like, I definitely hesitated to wear it. I'm like, you know, I should ask some people I trust, you know, who would tell me the truth. So I should have asked Rhonda too. I should have asked her
the
that.
hell out of that jersey.
Rock that, bro.
Rock
And
it, bro.
explain
You should
to
have
him.
asked Rhonda. That should have been hilarious.
So if you don't know, Rhonda Mary is a podcaster slash, I don't know, what would you call? I mean, she's an advocate for
Everything.
libertarian ideas, and she's out of Mississippi. We had her on a couple weeks ago. I asked a lot of stupid questions, and so that would have been another
as
one
we
to ask her.
as we do. One thing that I do, the magazine stuff. One thing that I do want to point out for those of you that want to read the state law. Don't just read the law, read the technical guidance with it. I know this law creates a lot of confusion. 9 News also did a relatively decent job. If you go looking at 9 News for with political blinders, then don't even worry about it. Fucking disregard it because you ain't going to learn shit because you're just going to be too worried on your political shit.
Yeah.
But 9 News did an okay job. Not perfect, but an okay job at kind of deciphering this law. But yeah, the technical guidance is a fantastic piece of document that you need to read associated with Colorado law as well.
Yeah.
For those of you interested. But anyways, I appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Nah, man, I appreciate it too, man. I came straight from
Especially to you, Anubis, who worked 2 jobs today apparently, and then came all the way down to Wheat Ridge.
Yeah, bro. I was trying to beeline it without getting bumped, you know, because I'm carrying, you know. So I'm like, oh, shit.
He's a hard-working dude.
If you get pulled over, just be like, no, I'm going to go see Edgar. don't even worry about
He's trying to get arrested, Edgar.
Man, Edgar's not lying, dude. He's got stories. He's got stories.
We'll have to get into these stories tomorrow.
So just real quick before we go, we actually are going to have 1770 Armory TV. So we would definitely love for you guys to actually come on that show.
Oh, hell yeah, I would
we're
love
definitely
to.
developing that.
Yeah.
And so, and that show is really dedicated to our community of shooters, no matter who you are, what you look like. We just want to have great community conversations with other shooters, other trainers. And so 1770 Armory TV is for that.
Yeah.
And so if you're a shooter or a trainer in the community, please send us a note on that email address. And we want to really schedule that. We want people to know that we all exist. I don't believe in the crab in the barrel syndrome competition. We're trying to teach people how to really do this thing correctly. So whatever we can do to promote everybody, we want to do that. So you guys, we would love you guys to be one of our guests on 1770 Army TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I'd come all the way up for that too.
Thank you, sir.
As long as it fit within my schedule.
I'll feed you. I'll feed you. Isaac. I'll feed you. You tell me what you
We'll
want.
have some snacks for
So in
you.
about 2 years, we'll be there.
I am pretty much booked.
That's good stuff. You don't have a birthday to go to or anything?
This dude's the busiest person like that has one job like that I've ever fucking met in my fucking life. Like, what are you doing? He's just like, I'm busy. Like, no, but for real, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm booked out till next year. Like, what the fuck do you do? Like, you got one job. You like kind of answer emails. Like,
honestly, I answer about half the emails I get.
Isaac is hilarious.
Yeah.
Will you be there on Sunday, Isaac?
What's Sunday? I don't remember.
Well, we're coming up to the property, so you probably won't be there.
Oh, no. I won't be there on Sunday.
Okay.
Josh will be there.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh
It'd
will
be
be
good
there.
to see, but we'll
and
get into
and
it.
I think I said it in the text or whatever, but you guys feel free to move anything around that you want to move around.
Okay.
And you have full use of anything anywhere down there. So,
Yeah.
Sweet.
Appreciate it, man.
So 1770 armory.com, Attucks
Gear.com.
Yes, that's ATTUX. Gear.com. I was about to plug our fucking national website. Don't go there yet. Although it does exist. Gunsforeveryone.com, firearmstrainingcentral.com.
SayIWon'tLive.com. We got all the show notes for this.
SayIWon't.live.
SayIWon't.live. God damn it.
SayIWon't.live. If there's if you know of a chick that is interested in being number 2 for me, just let me know and then we'll get the shit. Gotta get that shit going. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. This is gonna be pretty awkward because now I got to run to the fucking computer. I'll let you guys do whatever funny shit you got to do, and then I'll log us off.
All right. Go ahead and plug your guys'. You're currently on 1770 Armory is on Facebook, correct?
Yep, 1770armory.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, attucksgear.com, Facebook, IG, Twitter.
All right. And shout out to Wanda and
Wanda James.
And shout out to Master and
Josh Graham.
Josh Graham.
Yeah, that's the crew.
And I'm looking forward to getting up to your facility as soon as I can. And good luck this weekend. I hope you guys get everything you want. But, you can come down anytime. So
yes.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
We look forward to seeing Edgar tomorrow with the IG tour.
Yes,
so that
sir.
works
Yes,
really
sir.
well. So
he's on the hook now. He's got to show up.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I'll put it out there. So, but we do thank you guys for the support. Like, honestly, we couldn't do this without the community. And so we're thankful to have you guys as the community.
And thank you to everybody in the chat room tonight.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a
time,
great
Isaac.
week.
Have a
All
good
right,
one.
you too, brother.
Peace.
Peace.